They didn't seem into it. Because they knew the math. I mean, come on. Giants weren't going to beat Philly. How about that safety? Huh? I'm not sure it was a safety. First off, I thought he was down at the 1, but then the Dolphins had the ball, right? The Dolphins scooped it up, intercepted it, or whatever. I mean, then if he crossed the goal line, it's a touchdown. If he fumbles it at the 1 and it goes out the side of the end zone, it's a touchback. I'm trying to figure out how it was a safety.
Well, no, I think they're saying that the Jets threw it out of the end zone. Dolphins never had possession.
Oh, see, I thought the guy.
That's the way I took it, David, is that there was the balls bouncing around, got swatted. The Dolphins never had possession.
Gotcha. See, to me, I thought he had possession at like the 5. Okay.
That's the way I interpreted it live, but because the back judge there quickly called safety.
He did, but they never put it on the scoreboard forever.
I'm aware of that.
You know, they showed the final as 9-6. I mean, no big deal or anything. I mean, the game only went off at 3.5 to 4. I was trying to figure out why all the money was coming in on the Dolphins. I mean, they named Joe Flacco quarterback and the line moved 2 points. Really? They didn't name Zach Wilson quarterback. Adam, that was something Saturday night. And Gator fans, you are not going to like what I'm going to say today. Yep, Florida's in.
The Chicago Bears have the first overall pick, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's see. Lovie Smith cementing his spot in Bears history.
Did Dan Campbell have the reddest nose in the history of red noses?
I thought Coughlin's one 15 years ago was a little.
Coughlin's cheeks, too. His whole face was red. Just the fact that was Rudolph yesterday.
Yeah, he looks like Rudolph.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. And how the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? Here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. It's a combination of Black Monday in the NFL and National Championship Monday in college football. We bask in the glory of the regular season that just came to an end, looking ahead to the playoffs. Mark, how was your first weekend of 2023?
Fantastic. It was certainly an eventful football weekend, to say the very least. Lots of drama all day yesterday, right on through the final game of the Packers and Lions. Good morning, David. How was your weekend?
It was terrific. Saturday night was, I don't know if it came through the TV the way it felt in Jacksonville, but Mark, is somebody who does at least one game a year in Jacksonville for the last 17 seasons, aka the Florida-Georgia game. Man, the Florida-Georgia game seemed like a JV football game at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon compared to Saturday night in Jacksonville. That was a happening. That was an event. That was a big game. That was a party. And so my weekend, I had to recoup Sunday morning. I had to get geared up for 1 o'clock on Sunday. I'm like, man, I might have been at the biggest damn game of the weekend because it felt like it. I mean, Mark, as somebody who worked indoors, if you will, in hockey for half of your adult life, you know what an SRO crowd looks and feels like. You don't get many standing room only tickets sold to football games. I know the Cowboys do it, but there aren't a lot of stadiums that even sell standing room only tickets. But because of the way that stadium is configured, you've got in the end zone like two platforms where you could have hundreds of people just standing, and they sold them. And, looking around, you know what it's like when you look at the one section of the hockey arena and you're like, can't even see the concourse. Nothing but people. So, yeah, I was jacked up. It's always just great to be at an event, no matter how it turns out. Saturday night felt like an event, and Sunday there looked to be about 6 or 8 events going on.
No doubt. And you're right. It started Saturday night in Jacksonville. Terrific win. They win the division and start the Florida three-peat, or three-pact, rather.
There you go.
Playoff teams that concluded with the Bucs and Dolphins. Well, the Bucs had already punched their spot. The Dolphins punching their ticket yesterday in what was a thriller of a game.
Ooh-wee. Man, had to keep reminding myself there was potentially a lot on the line here. Kept grabbing the remote to change the channel, going, no, actually, believe it or not, you got to keep watching this. And besides, you're Mr. I love defense. I love it when first downs are important. Well, here, first downs are rare. They're nearly extinct, but you got to keep watching. Whew. Man. Well, come on. It's Skylar Thompson, Joe Flacco.
Throw a couple of third stringers out there, and I don't know what you expect.
Right. I mean, why we all didn't double, triple down on the under, I have no idea. What were we not thinking about? Man, Jets hadn't scored an offensive touchdown in a month, and the Dolphins were starting a third-string quarterback. I mean, did we really think this game was going to be 24-20? Man, oh, man. So, that was a pretty expensive safety, though. Huh. Tell you, it's kind of like the Mississippi State scoop and score, and oh my goodness,
that was definitely something because it was 3.5 most everywhere, and that safety that took 40 minutes to get on the board.
Right. How many people who had the Jets in 3.5 or 4 thought they had a winning ticket?
Unless they saw that referee make the safety signal, because that was the only indication that we got from 4:05 until about 4:20 that game was 11-6, not 9-6.
Oh my goodness! But first time since '99, all 3 Florida teams are in. Bucs, Dolphins, Jags. And it was nice of the NFL to schedule them each on their own day. We'll do a little Jags Saturday night. We'll try it again. We'll do Dolphins 1 o'clock Sunday and Bucs week from tonight. I don't think the NFL took that into mind. I'm just saying it worked out that way.
It worked out very well.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I'll tell you what, when a coach is fired, I mean, how long after the plane landing do you think Lovie Smith got fired? I mean, we talk about this all the time. So when is it? Should you just let him go home? You know, have a glass of wine, unwind, and then come in the next day and do it? Or do you just plane land and you go, by the way, if you want, you could start cleaning it out now?
That's the way you do it. For everybody involved. You don't want to go home and have to come back and get fired the next day. Just end it.
Funny thing is, Fluffy was asked after the game, do you expect to be back? Yes, I expect to be back. Maybe he just meant fly back. That was it. Do you expect to be flown back? Maybe he misunderstood the question.
Right up until we won the game, I thought I had a really good chance of coming back.
Right until the plane landed, I felt really good about my chances. When the owner wouldn't talk to me on the flight, though, I started to get a little heebie-jeebies. Yeah. Don't you think, though, Lovie Smith securing his spot as the second best coach or best coach since Ditka, though, in Bears history, maybe third greatest coach of all time, Hallis, Ditka, and now Lovie. A, took him to a Super Bowl. B, gets fired off a 10-win season. And C, he gets the Bears the first overall pick in the draft with a strong finish.
Certainly helps the footnote next to Lovie Smith as the Bears coach.
Yep. But Miller and Moulton on this Monday. And Mark, the other thing that played out yesterday is, there were about a half a dozen teams whose season-long over-under bet was on the line yesterday. That's the other thing. Playoffs, God, we knew who most of the teams were. Whether or not your season-long over-under, you're 6-10, you're over-under 6.5. This is a big game. Got a lot riding on it. Even though no one's paying attention. You are, if you know what I mean. So, Spitz in our Twitch chat room there, he was paying attention. Patriots over-under was 8.5. So was the Dolphins.
Well, in Dolphin, you did it. Looking back, what did we ask all Dolphin come August? What do you want? You have to make the playoffs this year.
Yep.
Now, the season went in a million different directions.
Whew.
But in August, what you wanted was to make the postseason.
Yep.
You did.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Yep. Third straight winning season. Back in the playoffs. Just the third time in 20 years in the playoffs. Come on now. Got to start somewhere. Yeah, you're the biggest underdog on the board. Just, you know what? Why don't you soak in the good news? You overcame a lot of injuries. You made the playoffs. Good for you. Believe it or not, Mark, I had a Bills fan text me last night, said this matchup scares me. If Tua plays. He said, Tua plays, I'm actually worried about this game. He said, defense in Buffalo's hasn't been the same since Von Miller. Tre'Davious White clearly isn't back and blah, blah, blah. So, but we'll have plenty of time for that. We did it. Right, Mark? We did it.
We did it. That's what you wanted.
Yep. Okay, so none of us thought 9-8 was going to be good enough to get you in. But hey, listen, you won 9 of 10 games the last 2 years, didn't get in. So this time you get in. Great. Playing with house money, right? Got nothing to lose. All of America rooting for the Bills. They are America's team in this year's playoffs, not the Cowboys.
Boy, are they ever.
Whew. And with good reason. Come on, you have to admit, he takes that kick back for a touchdown. I mean, if you don't believe in divine intervention, that you could be a full 100% atheist there. He takes that kick down the sidelines. You at least start believing in the sports gods, don't you? May not the gods, but you start believing in the sports gods, don't you?
Then you find out it's been, 3 years and 3 months since they've run back a kick?
Exactly. Josh Allen said it brought him to tears on the sidelines.
No, you're right. The Bills now are everyone's team.
No doubt.
If you don't have a dog in the fight, you're rooting for the Buffalo Bills.
Even if you do have a dog in the fight, unless they play Buffalo, you're rooting for Buffalo, right? That's the team everybody's rooting for. Unless your dog is playing their dog. Doll fan.
And it's your chance to take them out.
Yeah. Be the villain. Because when you think villain, Mark, you think Mike McDaniel. Doesn't he look like a villain? He's the one that's going to come in and, steal all your stuff, trash the saloon on his way out before he hops on his horse and rides out of town. It's what Mike McDaniel looks like, right, Mark?
Right, as long as that horse is a Prius. And he's going to pick up the kids from soccer.
Hey, you guys mind? Can I pick up some bottled water on the way? No, I got the kids in the car. I just picked them up. The car's running. Is my water ready? No, my flavored water. You got the grape? I love that. The playoffs are fun, right? All the jokes are funny when your team's in the playoffs. If you're a Packers fan today, everything sucks.
As well it should. Because as much as we had Jacksonville in, Green Bay was a lock. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Life, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Life is supported with the help of local partners like Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria at 41 and Wiggins Pass. Award-winning pizza with a cool rock and roll theme. Don't miss North Naples' newest sensation, Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria. When it's time to leave, book with the award-winning service for Naples Daily News Best of 2021. 250-mile radius, live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Serving a 250-mile radius of Southwest Florida over 15 airports. Salt Life Transportation, the official transportation of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show. Book now, 239-308-8686, or online at saltlifetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Adam, I don't think Marino was aware that they were showing him on national television when he was on the sidelines. Yeah, Spitz, Staley defended it. Most of his players, though, defended it too. So all the guys who got nicked, including Mike Williams, they all expect him to play. Hey, Spitz, I was impressed they got him off the field in the second quarter. Tom Brady doesn't like to give up first-team reps in practice.
Damn it. Missed the weekly pool by 1. Had 13 wins, 14 won it.
So the Packers cost you.
Well, that whole stuff, because I had Seattle too. Or, Packers cost me. Because I did have, that sucks. I thought I had a shot at that. No, somebody named Troy beat me. Only about 150 people in it.
DC, I'm absolutely convinced if the Packers had won, Niners-Packers would have been Sunday night. And I think Jacksonville Chargers would have been the first game Saturday, and Baltimore-Cincy would have been the night game. There's no doubt in my mind. Because about an hour before the games kicked, the networks were already kind of talking. TC, please tell me that's like a rhetorical question. Do you think ABC's happy they got the Cowboys and Tom Brady in a playoff game, standalone in prime time? It's okay. Yeah, I think they're a little excited.
God, I want Tampa to win.
30 seconds.
Yeah, Spitz, I'm glad that, I know some people thought that, the mic flags are upside down. I think that was kind of on purpose to make it look like a 3. So, honor Hamlin.
That's awesome, by the way.
So, it was their idea.
Ten seconds. I really like the 30-yard line tribute as well.
I was actually surprised they didn't put a 3 on the field.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Chris Landry will join us, final hour of the show, to break down Georgia and TCU. That's for the National College Football Championship, if you're not aware. If you kind of lost track over the last week and a half, which you may have with all the NFL news going on, then the euphoria of the regular season ending or the disappointment of it ending, depending on your point of view. Then in the middle of the day today, we're going to have some more people get fired. And sometime, between about 3 and 5 o'clock, Mark, you think that the attention will shift and go, oh, yeah, that's right. We got a game tonight.
Seems about right.
I'm a little surprised that America, and who knows, maybe they are and we're just not reading it. But, I mean, if you think about it, we got ourselves a true underdog. We got ourselves a David. team trying to repeat from the big, bad, hated SEC. Okay, and here's TCU. They're cute. They're purple. They're the horned frogs.
They're the frogs. The frogs and the dogs.
Right. Purple frogs. How could you not root for the cute purple frogs? So I don't know. Maybe there's a little groundswell that happens late afternoon over dinner. People decide, you know what? I'm going to root for the underdog here. We haven't had this in major college football. Let's have our Rudy moment, if you know what I mean. Let's take down the big bad SEC. Repeat Schmepeat.
I think there might be a little more of a groundswell, believe it or not, if it was Alabama, not Georgia. Georgia doesn't have that same sort of hatred that the Crimson Tide have.
Wait till they win tonight, though.
Oh, I know.
Then there you go. You go back to back. You're a blankety blank. Win it that first time, that's good. It's been 40 years. What good for them.
It's nice, David.
It is. It's nice. Kirby put in his time. He played there. He's a dog. This is a good story. Vince Dooley was alive to see it. It was a perfect story. Now, repeat. Blankety blank. I'm sick of Kirby. That smirk. That attitude.
He's easy to dislike. He really, and I like Kirby. I like Georgia.
Right.
I can't help it. I was inside that world for a long time, so I still have a soft spot for the dogs. But talk about a guy who is easy to dislike. Because that smirk is something.
It is. It is. And they're just, even when they win, okay, it's tough to get warmth out of them. It's tough to get, a decent amount of positivity out of them. He takes exception with every question that he's asked. You could say, Coach, congratulations on your 4-touchdown win. And he just bothered.
Why? Why are you congratulating me?
We're supposed to win. Okay. And besides, we should have won by 5 or 6 scores. Didn't like the way we played in the fourth quarter. We're going to have to play 60 minutes at some point. I mean, Stetson Bennett throws for 400 yards. However many touchdowns he had, leads them on 2 touchdown drives in the fourth quarter to come back and win a semifinal against Ohio State. And the first thing he says is, if the guy would just run the damn offense, okay, play a lot better. You scored 42, Coach, and missed 2 field goals. Are you sure it's the offense? I mean, I don't know. It could be your defense, but I won't ask that question. If that's how you react to Stetson Bennett after 400 yards and 4 touchdowns and 42 points in a win.
Thank goodness I didn't ask the question off the hop. If Harrison would have stayed in, do you think you would have won the game?
Right.
Because you couldn't stop him.
So let me get this straight. The walk-on quarterback who saved your butt because all the 4 and 5 stars you brought in couldn't play. Okay, and the guy who's lost 1 game in 2 years, he needs to get his head out of his you-know-what. Okay, that's good to know. By the way, what was the score today? 11-6? Oh, no, it's 42-41. How about that? I'll be damned. Meanwhile, you got Sonny Dykes over there who's smiling.
Reading Quentin Tarantino biographies on the plane to L.A.
Right. All right. Making jokes at the expense of the SEC. Yeah, in our conference, we're not scheduling Citadel in the 3rd week of November. You know who we drew? Texas. There you go. All right. I can get behind this guy. Okay. There you go. Picked 7th in the Big 12 by many, no higher than 4th by just about everybody. Hell, 28-1 just to win the Big 12, 200-1 to win the national championship. Goodness. We don't have this in college football, Mark.
No, we don't.
And yet, how many people think they have a shot? Just a shot. Raise your hand. Do you think they have a real shot?
I think they do.
Okay.
I think they have I'm taking TCU in the points.
Fair enough. Put it this way. Before last night, who did you think had a better shot? The Lions at Lambeau or TCU at SoFi?
TCU, and it wasn't close.
Even though the Lions were a 4.5-point dog and TCU's 12.5.
Right. I've watched the one. And we knew how it all ended up with Green Bay winning at Lambeau.
Of course. What are you kidding me? They didn't win 4 games in a row to lose to the Lions at home. Come on.
Going for it on 4th downs with some funky plays at the end.
That's a good way to describe it. They were funky. But they worked. So they were genius plays. My mom, by the way, just texted with multiple exclamation points. They have a shot. Mom, you just hate Kirby. Come on. Admit it. It's okay. It's all right. I mean, Mark, even North Dakota State lost the FCS championship. Anything is possible. Down goes North Dakota State. Down could go the Dogs in the big bad SEC. It's that kind of year.
That kind of year, huh?
Yeah, I'm selling it, baby.
North Dakota State.
Hey, come on. They'd won like 8 out of 9.
I know.
The SEC's damn near won that too, so it's not that far removed. You know, if the mighty Bison can lose, so can the big bad SEC. That's all I'm saying, Mark. I'm selling it.
Want to thank the Dakotas for their participation into the FCS playoffs, because without them, where would we be in this segment of the show?
Just selling it, Mark. It's football. All right? The Jags are in the playoffs, for goodness sake.
There you go.
All 3 Florida teams are in the playoffs. It's that type of year.
Hey, the Dolphins are in the playoffs.
Wow. With a 5-game losing streak, by the way. That's tough to do. Lose 5 in a row, make the playoffs. It's hard.
Miller and Moulton, starting 5 coming up. Chris Landry will talk national championship on the show today. Thanks for listening. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Life, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Life is supported with the help of local partners like Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria at 41 and Wiggins Pass. Award-winning pizza with a cool rock and roll theme. Don't miss North Naples' newest sensation, Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria. When it's time to leave, book with the award-winning service for Naples Daily News Best of 2021. 250-mile radius, live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Serving a 250-mile radius of Southwest Florida over 15 airports. Salt Life Transportation, the official transportation of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show. Book now, 239-308-8686 or online at saltlifetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Johnny Mack raining on our parade. We know, Johnny. We know. All three are underdogs. I'll be at the Jags by a point. Guessing that'll go up.
$30. 10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Let us know what you're thinking, how you feeling. NFL regular season has come to an end. All three Florida teams in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers tasting defeat at Lambeau. Is it his final game? His final pass then would have been an interception. Tell us what you're thinking and feeling. Text line 21,000. If you've never texted us before, you got to send in a keyword, FSN radio, along to 21,000.
Like these texts that we got yesterday, David. Because when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl.
There you go.
And that's right after the game.
We're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. We've got Skylar Thompson at quarterback. We're not going very far, but we're in, and we're going to celebrate the win.
Wow. All right, then. That was something.
That was the very rarely used third verse, Mark, right? It's like Silent Night. That's one of the things, the game within the game, like you go to church right around Christmas, and almost every church service does Silent Night. And then it's like, well, okay, how deep you going to go into this sucker?
Right, because I think a lot of us know, at least when we hear the first bars of the second verse, I remember that.
Right, but
and there's a line or two in the second verse, I kind of know that. By the time they get to the third verse, you're done.
And there's a fourth, okay? So just, which church service, how deep do you go with Silent Night, okay? That's kind of like, how certain teams are entering the playoffs here. How far down the quarterback depth chart are we going here?
But Mr. Friendly on text, and that's what I'm going with, this person's name is Mr. Friendly.
Okay.
David, you called the Bills America's team. I agree with you. This person says, I strongly disagree. Bills are America's team. Most everyone I know is over the Damar story and hoping the Bills lose so it goes away.
Wow.
Okay. I'm not even going to respond to that. I just want to put that out there and let everybody know that that's the way people think. I'm sorry for you, sir. I actually am.
You got to find a different table to sit at for dinner. Just to mix it up.
You know what I'd recommend for you? Ice cream.
And you know what? Just for the heck of it, how about you don't even do like the meal? Just have a dessert day.
For breakfast.
Right.
That great ice cream place in Bonita, Royal Scoop. They're little, we're on the network, but there's been a place here, my favorite ice cream place. They even let us make our own ice cream. They have their little jingle. Eat dessert first.
Yeah.
That guy needs to eat dessert first.
And the guys he's playing golf with and having beers with afterwards, yes. You guys need, you know what you need? You need a weekend in Vegas. That's all I'm saying. You guys need a getaway. Just you may not want to go Southwest. It's time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Dolphins win, and they're in. Oh, what an exciting game. 11-6 Miami over the Jets. How many of you thought it was 9-6 to like dinner? Kicked a 50-yard field goal with seconds to go, and then got the safety when the Jets threw the ball all over the lot, and they ruled that the ball went out of the end zone, and there you have it. So if you had the Jets in anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5, which many people did, well, you lost. Dolphins at 9-8 are in. They're the 7th seed because, well, Buffalo took care of New England. It helps when you get not 1 but 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. That does help. 35-23 Bills win. They're the 2 seed, and since Miami's the 7 seed, That means they're going to play for the third time this year. Each team has won at home. This game's in Buffalo. Bills an 11-point favorite already. 11. No word on who's going to quarterback for the Dolphins. The Miami win kept Pittsburgh out of the playoffs. Mike Tomlin yet to have a losing season. What's that, 16 years in a row now? 9-8. Steelers finish up. They win like their last 5. But because the Dolphins won, they are sitting home. Seattle rallied, tied it late, got a few favorable calls. Baker with a pick in overtime. Seattle drives down, kicks the field goal, 19-16.
A few favorable calls?
It's a few is anywhere from 3 to 30. Remember that. So
one in particular that was really good.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And because Seattle won, that means if Detroit went into Lambeau, and they did. How many of you are waking up to the Lions 20 and the Packers 16? Seattle's the 7 seed. Detroit and Green Bay. Well, Detroit with a winning record. That's right. The Lions finished second in the North. Huh? Won 8 of the last 10, but missed the playoffs. That's okay. They'll have 2 good draft picks. Eagles clinch the 1 seed. Their first stringers beat the Giants' second stringers 22-16. Dallas mailed one in Washington. Lost by 20. It'll be the Cowboys and the Bucks. Monday Night Football in Tampa. Tampa lost in Atlanta, by the way, and so they finished with a losing record. They are just the 4th division champion to make the playoffs with a losing record. Dallas a 3-point favorite. San Francisco clinched the 2 seed. J.J. Watt did have 2 sacks in his final game. Niners won their 10th straight, 38-13 over Arizona. And so the Niners as the 2 will face Seattle as the 7. The Niners are 10-point favorites. Minnesota has to settle for the 3 seed despite beating Chicago by 16. But the Bears have the first overall pick of the draft because the Texans screwed it up by completing a Hail Mary and then the 2-point conversion and beating Indianapolis 32-31.
I would have gone for 2 and taken a knee.
No, you would not. No, you would not. You never could have gotten another job. Come on.
He's not getting another job anyhow.
Well, that's true. And speaking of another job, Lovie Smith fired, by the way. The owner so happy that they finished as strongly as they did, playing everybody tough and going 2-2 down the stretch, blah, blah, blah. So Indianapolis, by the way, remember when Jeff Saturday's first game, they beat the Raiders? Yeah, they lost their last 7. I don't know, Mark. I just don't think he's going to get the job full time. That's me. Cincinnati is the 3 seed in the AFC. They beat Baltimore. And because they beat them, we don't have to do the whole coin flip. Bengals are not happy about that.
Loved their first touchdown celebration. Absolutely loved it.
You mean the
those that didn't
flip?
see, they did a coin flip.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Which is better than just sticking your middle finger up in the air at the National Football League. You do the coin flip and you choreograph it. Denver beat the Chargers, but the Chargers are the 5 because Baltimore lost. Russell Wilson actually threw 3 touchdown passes. Could this be a sign that maybe he's salvageable? Don't know. But the Chargers played their regulars for darn near the whole game, and a few of them got nicked up. It'll be interesting to see how many of them are available for Saturday night in Jacksonville. That's the 4-5 matchup in the AFC. Chargers a 1-point favorite. Meanwhile, the Bengals and the Ravens will play again, Mark, in Cincinnati. Bengals are a 6.5-point favorite. Lamar's status still up in the air. He didn't practice at all last week, and by all accounts, he's still walking around with a limp. I would pound the 6.5, personally. I think the Bengals are going to beat them by 17, but That's me. And finally, Mark, the reason I mention this is because Carolina's over-under at the beginning of the year, according to Vegas, was 6.5. So when it was tied at 7 with the Saints in the fourth quarter, Mark, there was a lot of money riding on this game. And by a lot of money, I mean about 18 bets. Well, Carolina kicked the last-second field goal to win 10-7. Both teams finished 7-10, and Carolina goes over, Mark. So there. In fact, the Chargers over-under was 10.5. They lost, so they only won 10 games. Dolphins over-under was 8.5. They won to go over with 9. Patriots over-under was 8.5. They lost to go under with 8. And Washington, who came in with 7 wins and a tie. And, Mark, I got to be honest, I don't know if that counts as 7.5 or not. I think it's just still 7,
It's
right?
7.
Okay, well, Washington's over-under was 7.5. So that win against Dallas sent them over. And also it means that every team in the NFC East finished 500 or above. That doesn't happen very often. Not just in the East, just in any division. National championship game tonight. It's in Los Angeles because when you think college football, you think L.A. TCU's a 12.5-point underdog to Georgia. Dogs looking to repeat. Over under 63.5 mark. Vegas is basically saying 38-26 Georgia. That sound about right? Yay or nay? You decide. NBA, Durant gets hurt. Heater up 9 on the Nets in the fourth quarter with no Durant, and they blow it. Brooklyn comes back and gets a tip in the final seconds and wins 102-101. The Suns without Booker are a mess. They've lost a bunch in a row. They're below 500. Cleveland went in the desert and beat them 112-98. Harden with a triple-double, 20-11 and 11. Philly beat Detroit by 12. And the Clippers, Mark, have suddenly a mess. They've lost 6 in a row. Trae Young with 30. Atlanta went into L.A. and beat them 112-108. That's 4 of the 9 games. I won't give you the others. NHL, there were 8 games. Mark, the Boston Bruins are 32-4-4. 32. They've lost 4 of their first 40 in regulation.
They are on pace to have the best record in the history of the National Hockey League.
Unbelievable. And they went on the road and won by 6 goals last night. I don't care who they played. Happened to be Anaheim, but still, man, unbelievable. This Florida Panthers thing is not working out. It's just not. They went to Dallas, lost 5-1. I know Dallas is a good team and all, but this team can't play 2 good games in a row. They can't win 2 games in a row. It ain't working.
Well, they got fleeced in the trade that sent Huberdeau to Calgary. They didn't come out on the top end of that, and they've regressed.
They're 6 points behind the Penguins for the final playoff spot. Pittsburgh beat Arizona 4-1, and the Penguins have 2 games in hand. That's a lot of ground to make up in half a season in the NHL. I mean, it's still doable, but and Washington continues their hot streak. They beat Columbus 1-0. In golf, Colin Morikawa blew a 6-shot lead heading into the final round. At one point, he led Jon Rahm by 7, and he led him by 6 at the turn. Rahm had a little out-of-body experience. He did. He shot a 10 under 63. But Morikawa choked like a big hairy dog. And Jon Rahm won the Tournament of Champions in Kapalua. You know, Mark, that paltry PGA Tour where they're just not playing for any money, Rahm won $2.7 million. And Morikawa finished in second, won 1.5.
For choking like a dog.
For choking like a dog. Serious story in baseball. White Sox All-Star closer, 33-year-old Liam Hendriks, diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He'll begin treatment later today. College hoops, give it up to Northwestern. Another road Big Ten win over a ranked team. They beat Indiana by 1 yesterday. UCF, a winner by 32 over SMU, and South Florida lost their 3rd straight. They lost to Wichita State by 4. So that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
We'll say, Mark, your Tigers made an interesting trade. Traded away their best pitcher. He's a lefty reliever to the Phillies. They got 3 good young players in return. They also gave up Clemens' kid, who was in the Tigers organization. They sent him to Philly. So he's an infielder. It was a good, solid baseball trade over the weekend. Don't get many of them. And Spitz wants to know FCS championship. I mentioned it earlier. South Dakota State whooped up on the Bison of North Dakota State, and they won the championship. Good for them. And they do the cowbells, by the way, South Dakota State.
More cowbell.
So congratulations to the cowbells. Miller and Moulton. So how you feeling about the NFL regular season that just came to an end? Let us know.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Life, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Life is supported with the help of local partners like Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria at 41 and Wiggins Pass. Award-winning pizza with a cool rock and roll theme. Don't miss North Naples' newest sensation, Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria. When it's time to leave, book with the award-winning service for Naples Daily News Best of 2021. 250-mile radius, live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Serving a 250-mile radius of Southwest Florida over 15 airports. Salt Life Transportation, the official transportation of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show. Book now, 239-308-8686, or online at saltlifetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Burnett. Who's Burnett?
Panthers coach that they got rid of, the interim coach.
I didn't say that at all.
We kind of, when they lost, we said they did. I know I did.
You did. No, I was fine with them sticking with him. I didn't think he was the reason they lost. I actually thought he made good lineup adjustments when they were struggling in the Washington series. But also, DC, all right, we both said Okay, and we both like Paul Maurice, but we didn't think that was the right hire. Now, Mark and I probably would have disagreed on this. I actually think the Panthers needed some Tortorella. I think they needed somebody to basically look at them and go, you guys are underachieving. You guys need to toughen up. But we'll see how it works out. It's only 40 games. What concerns me is they can't even play, they can't put together a week. They can't play 3 good games in a week. It's not that you have to win the whole week. They can't even just play 3 good games in a row. The Bob deal ain't helping.
One minute. $15 seconds. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Thanks so much for being with us. Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on the second Monday of the new year. It is National Championship Monday. It is Black Monday for many a coach and maybe even a few general managers around the National Football League. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We are basking in the glow, the glory of all 3 Florida teams making the NFL playoffs. Miller and Moulton are in our third act. We've been doing this 16, 17 football seasons. You know how many times the two of us have been able to celebrate all 3 Florida teams making the NFL playoffs? Zip, zilch, nada. Never before. Huh? I had a good feeling. I had a bad feeling about the Dolphins heading into Saturday night. And then when Jacksonville won, I said, come on. We got to go 3 for 3.
Oogly, but they got it done.
Yeah.
Really oogly.
Yes, sir.
In fact, really, really, really oogly.
Can't disagree with you, sir.
But they got it done.
Yes, sir. Yes. We did it, as we like to say on this show.
We did it.
Yes, a Doll fan called in many years ago and said, "We did it." And we were like, "We? You
That
part
was
of the
after week
organization?"
1, by the way.
Right. Right. We did it. So that's kind of our Dolphins thing. We did it. But they did. We said, "Hey, no excuses. Don't want to hear it. Got to make the playoffs this year. You made the moves that you made, gave up the first round pick, Hill, the money, Armstead, the money, the whole deal. Got to make the playoffs. I don't want to hear it." They tried. They tried real hard.
Armstead
they're
didn't make the last couple games, so.
But they're in. So you're saying there's a chance. They're in, baby. 3 straight winning seasons for the Dolphins, but finally making the playoffs. Big underdogs, biggest underdog on the board right now. Tua's status up in the air. My guts, Mark says he doesn't play, and they're going to go very meekly into the good night, but whatever. Besides, they don't have a first-round pick, so what was the benefit of, losing and missing the playoffs? I mean, you ain't picking anyway.
Miami, for those of you that don't know, has their first-round pick forfeited because of the tampering that Ross did trying to get Brady and whatever the hell he was doing.
Well, I got to admit, if you're the owner, you might as well double down. I mean, I lost a first-round pick and didn't get him. I might as well sign him now. I mean, heck, at least I can then say, well, I gave up a first-round pick for Peyton and Brady a year late. But that's okay. So they did it, Mark. They did it. Can I just go back to Saturday night for a second?
Yes.
2 things about it. First off, and I commented last hour, the scene was tremendous. And it also stuck out to me because I'm fortunate enough to be at the Florida-Georgia game every year. And I have complained for a long time that it's the worst atmosphere that we have in all the games that we do in the SEC. And we normally do the best game of the week in the SEC. So it's usually a fairly big deal. And these stadiums are like cathedrals and the whole deal. And Mark, I have complained for a long time. This is the worst atmosphere we have. And, the Friday night in Jacksonville is an unbelievable scene. I mean, naked people walk into the wrong hotel room. I mean, it's a great party. The game is boring as hell. I'm just telling you from an atmosphere standpoint. And it's a big reason why let's do on-site. Well, to me, Saturday night should cement that. I mean, I challenge any Gator or Dog fan who was at that game to turn around and go, really? We don't want this at our place? Because I'm not kidding when I say that was like a freshman 10 a.m. Saturday football atmosphere where there's friends and family only at the game. That's what Florida-Georgia felt like, Mark, compared to what took place Saturday night in Jacksonville.
How many good Florida-Georgia games have you witnessed in your 17 years?
Probably only 5. I mean, I will
Any
say
this is all great.
Boy, off the top of my head.
And I still think even if there were, I don't think, and I've been to it once. You're right. Friday's spectacular. Saturday night can be a lot of fun.
Yes. Saturday afternoon, snooze fest. Got to be honest with you. All right.
In the
stadium. What they had Saturday night is what I always thought Florida-Georgia was going to be from 3:30 on Saturday. So, if you thought that I was annoying before about playing Florida-Georgia on campus, after Saturday night, honestly, I'm not even excited about going to the game next year. It's ridiculous. It's a joke. The atmosphere at Florida-Georgia compared to the atmosphere Saturday night at the Jags game. Honestly, it's like they're playing 2 different sports. So I digress. The second thing was, Tennessee's winning, 3 minutes to go. It's 3rd and 6. When you're watching, are you sitting here going, yeah, I'm not throwing the ball here. I'm making Jacksonville, which hasn't had a first down in an hour, I'm making Trevor Lawrence and company drive at least 50 yards to tie and 80 plus to beat me. I'm not putting this game in Joshua Dobbs' hands because that's what I was saying. I'm running a 3rd and 6. I'm running a quarterback draw. I don't care. I am not throwing the ball here. I am challenging Jacksonville to beat me. And then we all know what happened. I mean, which is unusual. I mean, you don't expect that to happen.
I wasn't at all. I never thought that they were at safe mode in the game because, and I should have been, because there was, one, I'm not thinking a play like that's going to happen. And two, the biggest thing I was thinking is that why are you wasting time? Eat another 40 seconds off the clock. It doesn't matter what time it is because, as you pointed out, Jacksonville offensively couldn't do anything.
No, back-to-back 3-and-outs. Hadn't done the only points they had in the second half was off of an interception. I would have run the ball in some way, shape, or form, forced them to burn one of their 3 timeouts, something. But Jacksonville makes the big play. You could argue they got outplayed, but hey, they won. And just win, baby. And they're in. And they were 2-6 and 3-7 and 4-8. And they're in.
And as
Good
Troy
for them.
Aikman pointed out throughout the broadcast, there were 2 big passes that Trevor missed.
Oh, yeah. Badly.
That were touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it didn't even keep him on the field, too. I mean, we complain about, the underthrown ball, but, Trevor, when he missed Saturday, he threw it 5 yards out of bounds. It was like, wow, I don't know, it was something. But hopefully, I mean, Doug Peterson at halftime, walking off the field, told Lisa Salters, I thought he was a little nervous, a little jumpy, and we'll settle him down. And, whether he was or not, he didn't play as well as he had been playing. Hopefully he gets it out of his system because, Saturday night you get Lawrence and Herbert. I mean, could be a show. We'll see.
Not if that Trevor shows up.
No, but although it's the Chargers, though. I mean, let's be honest, Mark. I mean, if anybody can pull defeat from the jaws of victory, they're really good at it.
Well, and the Titans have had the Jags number over the years. It's a division game. Those games are tighter. Defensively, they seem to have a better gauge on what the opposition's going to do, and it was played that way.
But the schedule's set. Seattle, San Francisco's your first game. Niners a 10-point favorite. They've won 10 in a row. Then Chargers, Jags get prime time. They get Al Michaels Saturday night. Right now, the Jags are a home dog by a whole point. Miami at 1 Sunday. Giants, Vikings at 4:30. Ravens, Bengals get the Sunday night deal. You don't think NBC's hoping Lamar shows up with his cape, do you?
Boy, oh boy.
And then Monday night, Cowboys, Bucks. Probably Brady's last game in Tampa, at least as a Buccaneer. And could it be Mike McCarthy's last game as head coach of the Cowboys? It will be if he loses. Bucks a 3-point dog, Mark. Florida teams all getting points. 1-11-3 right now.
If you could only take one Florida underdog, which would you take?
Oh, boy. That's a good poll question. It's kind of like if we did poll questions, how many of the Florida NFL teams you think are going to win?
But I'll let you have the points in all of them. I'll even throw Miami in the mix because that one's at 10.5, 11, depending on where you look.
I think I'd take the Jags. And I know it's Brady. I know. Trust me. I know. But I do think Dallas is better than Tampa, and they're due to beat them. Tampa's beaten them each of the last 2 years. We do have some playoff, with the Florida teams, these are all rematches. Think about it. Seattle, San Francisco, they've played twice. Niners won both times. But Dolphins, Bills split. Jacksonville went to L.A. and whooped the Chargers week 3. Whooped them. And Tampa went to Dallas and whooped the Cowboys week 1. Second year in a row they opened with the Cowboys and beat them.
Bengals and Ravens obviously playing for the third time, and we know that the Giants and Vikings had a close one just a couple of weeks ago.
So, it's kind of intriguing. We got 6 wild card games. They've all played one another earlier in the year. So there you go. You got that going for you. So you answer. I answered. I said Jacksonville. Who would, of the 3 Florida teams, you getting points in all of them? Jags a point, Miami 11, Tampa 3.
Tampa. It's Dallas on the road in the postseason. There's this guy named Brady that plays quarterback for one of the teams.
What are you trying to say? Just because the Cowboys haven't won a road playoff game in 30 years, what are you trying to say?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just playing a hunch, David. There are trends, and then there's this.
I thought you were trying to make a point. I thought you were taking a stand. Huh.
It's like Notre Dame and Navy, for crying out loud.
Streak did last a long time.
Miller and Moulton. Trying to make our streak last as long as is humanly possible right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts, flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com, flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, Mr. Butte, what if you added one more state to the mix? What if you said New York? Which state will have the most playoff wins this year? Florida, California, or New York?
California.
Okay.
I mean, you only got one team in New York. You didn't ask say New Jersey.
Could still go with New York. If you believe they're going to win 4.
$19.99, Dad.
I think the Jags missed it in 2000. The Bucks and Dolphins made it, but the 99 season was when they went to the AFC title game. Yeah, they went 7-9 in 2000.
Club Pro Guy's letter to Rom is an all-timer.
Is it?
It says, Dear Colin, and it's crossed out with John. Wow, you did it, Colin, crossed out John. Congratulations on your dominant, crossed out, come from behind victory. It was an amazing 4 crossed out final round performance. Then it's got 3 lines crossed. Getting 6 shots ahead of the field after 54 holes is quite a foundation to work with, and it allows you to cruise to victory. That's what competitors do, step on the neck of competition and not let them up, all crossed out. Another whole paragraph. Colin, I would like to take this opportunity to personally apologize to you for sounding the alarm that your play would suffer after you reach an engagement and subsequent marriage. I have long believed that young multi-millionaire tour players who choose to get married are making a catastrophic mistake, but you obviously proved me wrong with your victory today. All crossed out.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Celebrating the end of the NFL regular season just in terms of who triumphed. And I know for some of you, it was a bitter disappointment. Steelers just on the outside looking in. Packers have it in their own hands. Can't beat the Lions at home. The Lions! It's the new Detroit Lions, ladies and gentlemen. At least that's what they're trying to make us believe.
Stop it.
I said it's what they're trying to make us believe. Clearly, you, somebody born and raised in Michigan, grew up in Michigan, you're not believing.
I'll believe it when I see it. I am super impressed with what they did. The fact that they had a winning record, I think that that's all commendable. Now, let's see what you can do for a whole season.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. They'll get their opportunity next year.
They'll be trendy, that's for sure, David. They will be a trendy pick next year.
Oh, my goodness, will they be trendy? Will they be the first team mentioned? Give us the 4 or 5 teams who missed the playoffs a year ago that will make it this year. Detroit!
And Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, and Miami could all be on that list of teams that made the playoffs this year that won't next year.
Oh, look at you. Although I think Jacksonville's going to be the trendy pick in the South. That division does seem to be in a little bit of upheaval. I mean, Mark, think about it. The Jags were 3-7 and won the division by 2. I mean, that's how bad that division is. They lost 5 in a row this year. Both the Dolphins and the Jags had 5-game losing streaks and made the playoffs.
Tough to do.
Yeah, it's really tough to do. Only been done like a handful of times before they both did it. But also celebrating all 3 Florida teams in the playoffs. That hadn't happened since 99. Marino's last year. It's also the last time Dolphins won a road playoff game. In fact, they only have one road playoff win since they beat the Steelers in the AFC Championship game during their perfect season. Can you believe that? The Dolphins have one road playoff win in 50 years. One.
That's remarkable. Because there's a long stretch there that they were a really good football team.
But because of it, they played a lot of home games.
I know.
And so when they suffered playoff disappointment, believe it or not, they suffered it at home. Marino's rookie year, Seattle beat them in the Orange Bowl. 85, New England beat them in the AFC title game in the Orange Bowl. You know, even the greatest game in Dolphins history is voted on by Dolph fans. The Chargers beat them in double overtime. Where? The Orange Bowl. Bills 30 years ago in the AFC Championship game came in and beat them in the Orange Bowl. Or by then, I think they had moved, but you get the idea. Played a lot of, you know, Jimmy never won. Jimmy won the road playoff game. Marino's second to last game, they went to Seattle in the Kingdome. Marino with a late fourth quarter drive. They beat Mike Holmgren and the AFC West champion Seattle Seahawks. That's right. Seattle was in the AFC. So they haven't won a road playoff game this century. They've won one in 50 years. Haven't won a playoff game in 22 years. Huh? And they may go to the playoffs with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. That's not ideal.
No, it is not. And that's the first question. Who do you think quarterbacks the Dolphins this weekend?
Skylar Thompson.
You don't think it's Bridgewater?
No. He apparently could barely throw the ball 15, 20 yards in warmups, you know, with the finger. So I don't think it'll be healthy enough. No. I mean, hope so. But how much confidence would you have in Teddy, you know, being able to throw the ball in the cold and the wind of Buffalo a week after he couldn't throw it 15 yards?
David, I watched that entire Miami Dolphin game yesterday.
Well, first off, I did too. And I just want to say to the both of us, my condolences.
Thank you. And right back at you. That quarterback can't play again this week. I don't care if they have to cut Teddy's pinky finger off for him to be able to play in this game.
Well, who does that leave then? Our buddy there? I mean, you're recommending they go with Mike Glennon?
No. I'm just trying it. I'm just saying if Teddy has a chance, you have to play him.
Okay. All right. But you asked me right now, I'm putting $20 down on Skylar Thompson as the starting quarterback.
Then bet the Bills heavy.
Yeah, right now I would lay the 11 hard right now.
And that stinks.
Yes. I mean, my fear is that, you know, the Niners-Cardinals score yesterday, 38-13. That's my fear, is that's what's going to happen to the Dolphins, because the quarterback position is just not going to allow them the ability to compete. And let's face it, if Tua's not playing, they ain't going to compete. They're not.
Both receivers are now banged up a little bit. I mean, The line's banged up. They are a mash unit walking into this game.
See, the reason I think they were able to run the ball effectively the last meeting in Buffalo is because of what? The threat of Tua in the passing game. So they got a lot of base defense and they ran the ball effectively. So much so that after that game, we were like, was kind of hoping in the fourth quarter they'd keep running it instead of going back to the pass. Now, we just got a weather report in our Twitch chat room, clear and 30. Well, that'd be great. Mid-January in Buffalo, that'd be fantastic. But I just don't think there's going to be much of a threat of the passing game. Therefore, don't see how the running game will get going. And it's just, oh boy. Oh boy.
Now, somehow, some way, Tua's playing.
Well, now it's a different story.
I'd be running to grab the 11. If I thought there was an inkling of that happening, I'd be betting the Dolphins right now.
The other thing that I believe you have to take into consideration, anybody who was unable to play Sunday, think about it. Sunday was what? The season. Teron Armstead couldn't go. That's a bad sign. I mean, it's not like they're like, hey, let's hold out. We'll wait till the playoffs. No. The week earlier in New England, you could still argue the Dolphins would play it safe with a couple of guys, and we'll catch you next week. But no, not yesterday. You couldn't play yesterday. That's a bad sign. Teddy couldn't throw the ball yesterday. Teron Armstead couldn't play yesterday. That's not good. But anyway, first things first. They're in.
We did it.
We did it.
It's a Florida trifecta. Jags, Bucks, and Dolphins all in the postseason.
Yeah.
The first full football season of the Florida Sports Network, and we deliver all three teams into the NFL postseason. I'll take all credit for this year, David. You and I, we did it.
Well, we're still trying to lay claim to that Orlando Magic winning streak, but that does mean that they have to blame us for the Florida Panthers sucking up the joint. I mean, it's got to go both ways, Mark. It's got the Heat inconsistency. All right, the Panthers. I mean, it's got to go both ways.
I'm okay with that because no one in the state of Florida really cares about the Florida Panthers anyhow.
I mean, let's face it. We can't take any credit for the Lightning's success. They've kind of had it going on for a while before the Florida Sports Network.
That's all right. We're about football, and we have three teams in the postseason from the state of Florida. That's a win, David.
Yeah.
Miller and Moulton, thanking you for listening right here.
Where else?
On the playoffs, Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com, flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Felipe, you ready to go? Felipe,
Yeah, he is.
Oh, what'd you say?
are you ready to go?
For the clutch play of the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's Naheem Hines, by the way.
Hey, what'd he do?
Huh.
You did have 10 of 14 playoff teams picked, David.
It's not bad. And I missed on the Cowboys.
Yeah, no offense, bad golfer. I wanted the Packers to win last night, not the Lions. I picked Green Bay to win to go to the Super Bowl. I still wanted my chance to hit.
Yes, RCB. And if you've been listening to this show, you've heard it a few times.
Want to go a little draft order and how many new coaches we'll have here?
I was going to absolutely go draft order here.
15 seconds.
Oh, no, RCB, that wasn't a criticism. I was just saying, no, we've had it. We're all over it. We're paying attention.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Landry, an hour from now, to preview TCU and Georgia. National championship game. You remember college football. Yeah. Two great semifinals that seemed like what? A month ago? A week and a half tops. Just saying. They got to figure out how to finish this season better, don't you think?
Well, you and I have both been on this. Look, if they just move this Monday to Thursday.
Think about it.
We'd spend all day talking about the National Football League.
Yeah.
Black Monday today and tomorrow. By Wednesday, you'd be looking for something to transition. College football would have seemingly the whole day Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday. I think they'd get 48 hours. And then, Friday morning we'd go, hey, that was a good game, or hey, that was a lousy game, and let's look ahead to the NFL playoffs. But they'd at least get their 48 hours. Now they're hoping to 4 to 8 hours. And it's
because we love college football on the show.
Right.
We're going to talk college football on the show. We're into tonight's game. But that's not how it works nationally.
No. Much like us, the national shows, even in the afternoon, they're going to do like one segment on the game. Going to bring in somebody, preview it, and say, okay, good. By the way, Lovie Smith fired. Browns fired their defensive coordinator already this morning. It's Black Monday in the NFL. Coach is getting fired. How many do you think, by the way?
Well,
because remember, we had
we've
two
already had
during the
quite a
season.
few. Right. I mean, we're already down 3 coaches.
Well, let's see. Denver and Carolina were in season, right?
Well, and Indianapolis.
Yeah. Oh boy, were they ever. Right. So that's 3 in season. Now Lovey. So we got 4 jobs open right now.
Correct.
We haven't even had our morning eggs yet on Black Monday.
How do you like your eggs, by the way?
Scrambled.
Only
Prefer an
scrambled?
omelet. Prefer an omelet. Don't like them any other way.
All right. Good to know.
Thanks for asking. My grandfather liked them poached. I always thought they were disgusting.
Love a good poached egg.
Oh, man.
Need toast for a poached egg.
Oh, it's exactly what he would do. Yep. Oh, yeah. It was just a mess. He would, move his plate closer to mine to, antagonize me. He was the dearest, sweetest, nicest man in the world, but he knew that one got me. So he would just slowly move his plate closer to mine going, hey, look at my eggs. Unbelievable. Love you, Grandpa.
All right. I've got the draft order in front of me right now. Just how many of these teams will have new coaches as we work through the first 10 picks of the draft? The Bears.
No. Because if you're the GM and you're a new GM and the first big thing you did was hire a new coach, you're firing him after a year, doesn't ownership then go, well, why are we sticking with this guy?
I'm with you. Just Houston's already done it.
Uh-huh.
They have the second pick. Arizona.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have a new coach. That's just going to be the Kingsbury doesn't want to come back is the word. But he doesn't want to quit. He wants to get fired because he wants to get paid. So this could, maybe it only takes 5 hours today. There was a report out yesterday that the owners already kicked the tires doing some research on potential coaches. But Mark, it wouldn't surprise me if Kingsbury resigns, but there's a financial agreement.
Indianapolis has already happened.
But But I also think that they will not make him the full-time head coach.
Correct. Denver has already happened.
And by the way, Denver picking 5th, but they have to hand that directly to Seattle. Here you go, guys.
Correct. The Rams are picking 6th. There's been so much talk and speculation the last couple of days on whether or not McVay is going to be back.
The word was 3 to 4 weeks ago that he would not leave the Rams off of a season like this, that he felt as if he owed the organization more. But in the last week, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to do it anymore. I'll say this. To me, if you're going to leave, you're probably leaving for a big money broadcasting job. Off the top of your head, which one does he get? Remember, Fox moved on, right? They signed Brady for the future, and they're holding, the seat warm with Olsen.
Unless it's studio.
Well, I'm thinking unless it's Amazon, unless he replaces Herb Street.
Vegas.
No, because I don't think the owner can afford it.
Atlanta.
No.
Right.
Atlanta, by the way, thinks they went through 2 tough years. They got their cap situation straightened out. They think they got their quarterback of the future. Get Pitts healthy next year. They actually think they can contend in the NFC South next year.
Carolina already fired their coach.
Let me ask you, though. Do you think they give Wilkes the gig?
I do.
I don't. I think they should, but I don't think he's smart.
Being the owner, that is.
Right.
New Orleans has the rights to the 10th pick. They will give that pick to Philadelphia.
And I do think the finish, by the way, saved his job. You think about how close they really came to winning the division. I mean, if you could turn that Monday Night Football result of the Saints-Bucks and turn that sucker around, the Saints may very well have won this division.
Tennessee played for the division, lost. They'll pick 11th.
They'll have a new GM. It'll be handpicked by Mike Vrabel.
Cleveland. Now, they've got to give that pick to the Texans, that 12th pick. But is Stefanski going to survive this?
I think he is. Now, he's going to be told, if you want to stop by the local grocery store out back and start grabbing boxes to plan for a year from now, okay, because you're going to have to win next year there, big fella.
I agree with that.
And that's a tough division to have to walk into at the beginning of the year knowing I need 10 wins in order to keep my job.
And I think everybody else that didn't make the playoffs is safe when you look at the remaining coaches.
Okay, so you think Green Bay safe?
I do.
I do as well, but it's interesting to me how many people have brought him up in the last few weeks. It would be very un-Packers-like to make that move. I mean, you win 13 games your first 3 years, you go 8-9, they gas you. Washington.
I think Rivera stays.
I do as well, but you got to admit, he did make that Carson Wentz decision. I mean, that was not a good decision.
No, it wasn't.
Could argue it cost them the playoffs. Just saying. Here's the question. Todd Bowles and the Bucs lose. Because not every year, but on average of about every third year, a guy who leads the team to the playoffs gets fired. I actually think there's 3 coaches off the top of my head who I think could get fired if they don't win a game.
Bowles, McDaniel, Harbaugh?
Not McDaniel.
Okay.
Not Harbaugh, believe it or not. Although, wouldn't be shocking. They're kind of trending downward. All right. They did this, the Billick firing came out of nowhere when, 15 plus years ago. I'm thinking McCarthy, but I'm also thinking Staley. it is difficult to tell and convince everybody how much Sean Payton wants the Chargers job. And Staley played his regulars yesterday. Some of them got banged up in a meaningless game when they were locked into the 5 seed. And if by chance some of those regulars can't play Saturday night and or they lose to Jacksonville, I mean, Sean Payton's already in Spanos' ear going, you give me Justin Herbert, we'll take the Chiefs down. If they lose at Jacksonville for the second time this year, they lose to the Jags. You don't think there's going to be people whispering in Spanos' ear, you put Sean Payton in charge of this bus, they ain't losing to Jacksonville in the playoffs. Because also, Mark, answer this question. Which roster would you take?
Chargers. You don't have to ask the question.
It's why I think Staley's got to win Saturday night. I'm just saying.
So that's a little rundown of what we think could happen the rest of Black Monday and into next week as far as the coaching carousel goes. Time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day. We're a segment late here, but we'll get to it. That's how we roll. Inevitably, we'll get to all the sponsored segments.
Yeah.
What do you got, Felipe?
Does it get any better than what Naheem Hines did to open up the game? Bills Patriots kickoff.
5 degrees here this afternoon as Folk puts his foot into the ball. It's going to be short. Fielded at the 4 by Hines. Coming straight up the middle to the 20. Cuts it back at the 25. He's got an alley down the right sideline to the 40. 50. Down to the 40. 35. 30. 20. 15. 10. 5. Touchdown. Naheem Hines. 96 yards. Run as fast as you can. You're not catching Hines. He's your end zone man. Buffalo on the board with the first play from scrimmage.
There's the Clutch Vodka play of the day. Clutch Vodka, anywhere that you're buying your spirits, look for Clutch Vodka. Order it when you are out. Hashtag all your drinks with the hashtag Clutch Spirits and visit them online at clutchspirits.com.
I thought Nance nailed it. I thought Romo tried to ruin it. I thought Nance nailed it.
That's because Romo always tries to ruin it.
I did tell you what. It's just, you made your money, Tony. You could talk a little less. Also, Mark, what you talk about all the time, just sometimes as the analyst, you got to understand the moment. Nance is having a great call. A great call. Just let him go. It's Jim Nance. Let him continue talking.
Well, the problem is that everybody has told Tony he's the star. And my guess is people at CBS have too, when they paid him all that money.
But Nance's call was tremendous. And the moment was amazing. And you don't believe in the sports gods? You don't believe in divine intervention? I don't know. I'd show you the events of Monday night and then edit it to the opening kickoff yesterday, and then you decide.
Remarkable.
Does anything deliver better than sports? I mean, truly. The people that make fun of us because we watch too much sports, we listen to too much sports, we talk too much sports. Don't you guys talk about anything other than sports? I'll tell you what. You come up with a subject matter that's better, we'll talk about it. Deal?
That's why food's a close second on this show.
You know what? Sometimes once again, you get me to shut up. Moulton, don't know what to tell you. This topic's better than yours. Okay, I'll sit here and eat then and listen to you guys.
Exactly. But man, oh man, for that game to start like that and the emotion that was already in that building, in that stadium, and then to take one to the house, that place nearly exploded.
I mean, and I saw other people. The first thing I thought of Steve Gleason and the Saints with Katrina. I really did. Falcons had the ball first, and they, got the 3 and out, and Gleason blocks the punt. the place, which is, had already exploded because U2 had played the Saints are back in town, or the Saints are coming, which, by the way, they play when they run out onto the field every time. Every single Saints game, I get goosebumps when they play U2's version of the Saints are coming. And that's what I thought as he's running down the sidelines. I'm thinking Steve Gleason blocking the punt in New Orleans. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's why I get in trouble all the time when I talk about the sports gods at home, and my wife gives me that look. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
I got your back. I'm just telling you right now. I know she's really big Saturday nights, Sunday mornings, and that's fine. Not going to deny her a single thing. I got your back, though. I do. I like our track record, by the way. We have proof. I mean, it's right there. It's not faith, it's proof.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Life, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Life is supported with the help of local partners like Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria at 41 and Wiggins Pass. Award-winning pizza with a cool rock and roll theme. Don't miss North Naples' newest sensation, Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria. When it's time to leave, book with the award-winning service for Naples Daily News Best of 2021. 250-mile radius, live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Serving a 250-mile radius of Southwest Florida over 15 airports. Salt Life Transportation, the official transportation of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show. Book now, 239-308-8686, or online at saltlifetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
loves the Bills there. Another poll question would be, so which guy retires? Brady, Rodgers, neither, both? I vote neither.
It's a good poll question. I like that one. Good, put that one up.
Okay. I'll call our IT guy and work on that.
All right. This is great. The 26 minutes ago, the traffic person at NBC says, avoid I-75 right now. I'm tracking a 7-mile delay because of this crash, but no idea where the crash is.
I was going to say,
what
you got
directions it's in.
Right. North or south with help. And a mile marker would be outstanding.
You're a moron.
Moron.
I want to do traffic.
You do want to do traffic. It's easy. No one's really paying attention to you because nobody turns the TV for the traffic.
At a time we used to have traffic on radio in this market. We don't anymore.
No, we used to have news on the radio in this market, and we don't anymore. It was something that always surprised me. I thought that there would be a news station. Not that you had to go, all we did was news, but I just thought that since they had all those radio stations over there and they own a TV company, I just thought they would do more news on their news talk.
$30 seconds.
Yeah, the hairball. You'll see a lot of Troy Polamalu commercials for Head and Shoulders, I have a feeling, Adam. Although you're going to be at the game.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice. We're just halfway in the 239. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Landry to join us. Roughly 40 minutes time. We'll preview the national championship game. TCU, honestly, have you met or heard from one person? Remember Desmond Howard had that crazy Final Four that he threw out there at the beginning of the year, right? Wasn't like Pitt in it.
And yeah, he had somebody just way off the beaten path.
Right. I mean, 3 of the 4 were like, wait, what? And even he didn't have TCU in the playoff, never mind playing for the national championship against Georgia. All the pressure on the Dogs.
So I watched a little college hoop over the weekend. I'm a Michigan State guy. They played Michigan. I had to give it up to a couple of Sparty fans that have the seats right behind the broadcaster for the opening stand-up. TCU T-shirts.
Really? Good for them.
I thought that was
nice.
I thought that was a pretty good shot at the maize and blue there. I thought that was a pretty good cheap shot, if you know.
Well done. Give them extra credit. Bump that grade up.
But I would think there's a lot of people in the Sunshine State that are wearing purple to work today.
Or certainly, they are purple on the inside. There's no doubt. There is no doubt. And I would have to think if the rest of the country is going to tune in, and we're not sure that they are. But if they are tuning in elsewhere, you got to figure they are rooting for TCU.
But Big Ten country won't watch this game at all.
Well, I'm not asking this to be a jerk. Does Big Ten country exist beyond Ohio State and Michigan?
I don't know. I don't know, David. I think that's you're not being a jerk. I think that's a very fair question.
I mean, Penn State has a lot of alumni. It is a very proud school. People that go to Penn State love their school as much as any alumni I've ever encountered that love theirs. They are very proud at Penn State. They do a lot of community service. When you go there, you really have to become a part of the fabric of the university. And they drink that Kool-Aid and they love their school. But, are they all in tonight rooting for TCU against the big bad SEC?
Well, the one I would ask is because Ohio State has the biggest fan base. They're
Right.
the ones that move the needle. Buckeye fan, we know you're out there. We know you listen.
Are you watching or are you
watching tonight?
Right. Because if you think about it, if Georgia takes care of TCU, Ohio State fans sitting there going, we could have won the national championship. We blew it. We let it get away. And then again, if TCU whoops up on Georgia, they could be sitting there going, what the heck? What was our problem? How come we couldn't beat them? You mean to tell me we couldn't beat TCU? Nah.
Because Michigan fans not watching.
No, absolutely not. No. They're still sick to their stomach, and they should be. And Harbaugh's leaving. Or at least he's trying like hell to. I mean, come on. Are these statements the funniest thing? I mean, seriously, who was releasing the most ridiculous statements last week? Kevin McCarthy about how much the party was behind him to be Speaker of the House, or Jim Harbaugh talking about how much he loves Michigan, and I'm not leaving. No intention of leaving. What are you kidding me? And meanwhile,
don't know what the future will bring, but I plan on being at Michigan next year.
It would take a nuclear event to get me to leave here.
Or an job offer from an NFL team.
Right. Wait, is that the Panthers owner on line one? Guys, I got to go. I got a phone interview. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm not available next week. I'm interviewing with the Broncos. But I love this place. Not going anywhere. I digress. I don't normally mix the politics with the sports, but when a good line, you don't care the party involved. If they give you a line like that, you have to use it. I would have used it the other way too, folks. Please know that. Mark and I believe if it's a good line, it's a good line. That's it.
Funny's funny.
Funny's funny. Right. So, Felipe, I hesitate to do this because we have not talked about this at all. All right. And we never know where you're going to go.
Usually it's asleep.
Right.
Oh, stop it.
So at first I was just testing to see if you're still with us. Secondly, Felipe, you represent Finns Nation right now. Only you represent the younger part of it. You've enjoyed no success in your lifetime. It's just the third trip to the playoffs in your lifetime. I don't even know if you remember the first one. So Felipe, you've lost 5 in a row before yesterday. You won the ugliest game of the year, but you're in. How do you feel?
I am just preparing for our season to end promptly and then just move on to the offseason. It's over. It's fine. We have no chance against the Bills. Is it any different than 2016 when who was our quarterback going into that game against the Steelers? Matt Moore?
Yes.
I don't feel good. I do not feel good.
Made the playoffs and sounds defeated.
No joy at all.
No joy
Nothing.
in Miami or Mudville.
I mean, the goal was to make the playoffs, so we at least achieved.
No. You only went there after we circled back. It was why we asked you what we asked you. We wanted the gut reaction. All right. Not even 18 hours removed from the big moment. First time in 6 years you made the playoffs. And your feelings like, for goodness sakes, just get me to draft day, will you? Who we taking in the second round?
That's right. Don't get too excited about draft day. You don't have a first-round pick.
Right.
You can't even watch. You don't even need to watch the first night of the draft.
Now, Felipe, what if I told you? Because all he needs is medical clearance. And let's face it, okay, do we really trust the Dolphins team doctors? All right, I digress. Felipe, what if all of a sudden you find out Tua is practicing? Now, how do you feel?
Now that interests me, but I am concerned for his safety at the same time.
Man,
but it's the playoffs.
Well, which is it? By the way, did he just go yes, no, maybe so, all in the same answer?
The same answer. That is the trait that Felipe has. He can answer any question with every possible answer and not give one distinct answer.
That was amazing. Went yes, no, maybe so. I don't even know if you threw in a breath.
Because at the end of the day, what do I know?
Well, none of us know anything. It's sports. We got no
Exactly.
control over nothing. It's not science or anything. It's a total crapshoot.
So is the answer to every question not yes, no, maybe so?
No, the answer is not all three.
No, you get a lot of incompletes and a lot of F's on test if that's how you answered it.
I mean, like Felipe, when we asked the question, we did not know your answer. We had not discussed it with you today. We did not know if you would just be euphoric. You're like, I don't want to hear about the 5-game losing streak. I don't want to hear about the injuries. I don't care. We needed to make the playoffs. We're in the playoffs. That's all I care about.
I knew it was bad when he wasn't wearing Dolphin garb this morning.
Wow, that's a tell.
I knew it was bad. I knew that Felipe had given up before it even started in the postseason when I walked in this morning and saw no Dolphins gear on him.
Well, I wore it all yesterday.
Felipe, as if you only have enough Dolphin
right
for one day.
Exactly.
I've known you quite a while. That is the most inaccurate statement you've ever given on this show. And you did just answer a question with yes, no, maybe so, all in the same answer.
And also, Felipe, let's be honest. You can wear dirty clothing into a radio station. You're not around your girlfriend or anything. You could have put on the same damn jersey you wore that you sweated through yesterday.
Okay, that's fair.
Because it can't make the place smell up any worse than your chicken parm did 2 weeks ago.
Oof.
Or whatever the heck that was.
Oh.
So, but that's why we asked you, Felipe, not to say that you represent all of Dolphins Nation, because obviously you don't. But I think it is interesting. What is a Fins fan feeling today? Are you feeling any sense of accomplishment? Are you feeling like, hot damn, we made the playoffs?
What's a Bucs fan feeling right now? Seriously. You've already beaten Dallas once this year. You beat them last year. You're in the playoffs. And yet I don't get the sense from Bucs fan that they're expecting anything other than one and done.
See, and this is funny. See, this is where you can start to make the case because Hurts is hurting. His head coach said so. His head coach basically said, yeah, he gutted that out. He was in a lot of pain yesterday. You could tell, and I don't know how many of you watched the game. He had 9 rushes. They didn't call a single one of them. I mean, they did not want him getting hit at all yesterday. He clearly played still injured yesterday. And so if you're making the case, if you're a Bucs fan, I know you're thinking, come on, we're 8-9. We're not any good. You know, blah, blah. We're not going anywhere. Well, believe it or not, if you win, you get Philly. And you get Philly with an injured quarterback. And possibly no Lane Johnson. I mean, the Giants' second stringers actually, hung around yesterday. I mean, I could start to make the case for you. You know, if you beat Dallas, like right now, if you had to play Philly or San Francisco in the NFC, who would you rather play?
Right now?
Yeah, right now. Yeah. Right. This ain't a month ago. This ain't 6 weeks ago. So, Bucs fan, I'm telling you, all right, there's actually a path here to some success. Because we're just a very simple question. Who's your quarterback? Thank you. So, Dolph fan, I mean, you have any good vibes today? Or does Lions fan feel better today than you do? Mark, I get the sense Steelers fan and Lions fan are happier today than Dolph fan. which I don't understand.
So funny. Got a text while the Lions didn't make it. The fan base feels on top of the world. Another texter comes in. WTF? Fins up. Felipe. Come on, man. Seriously. Let's get over it. Come on. Fins up, baby.
All right. We made the playoffs, but we all know what's coming.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
And that little, oh, I'm excited we made the playoffs. That wasn't genuine. That was the most disingenuous we made the playoffs I've ever heard. That was a defeatist attitude. You feel as if you're done. You've only made the playoffs how many times in your life?
3.
Yeah, that includes yesterday.
Fins up.
Felipe, TCU's playing for the national championship. Okay? It's possible, dude.
Miller and Moulton.
Man.
The positivity on this show, again, comes from the two of us right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Life, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Life is supported with the help of local partners like Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria at 41 in Wiggins Pass. Award-winning pizza with a cool rock and roll theme. Don't miss North Naples' newest sensation, Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria. When it's time to leave, book with the award-winning service for Naples Daily News Best of 2021. 250-mile radius, live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Serving a 250-mile radius of Southwest Florida over 15 airports. Salt Life Transportation, the official transportation of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show. Book now, 239-308-8686, or online at saltlifetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Another thing I'm thinking about is, say the Dolphins do beat the Bills. We are the villains of the NFL now for ending the Bills season this early. Now, being a villain is fun and all, but I don't know. I think it's the Bills' Super Bowl to win. Despite them being depleted. Not Dolphins depleted, but depleted. And yes, Heidi's dad. That's always an achievement. Right. Thank you. Do I really want that target on my back? Man, did Raheem Mostert look good yesterday, though. I love him. Can't remember the last time we've had running backs that run this angry. David, I was just saying that another thing is that if the Dolphins do beat the Bills, we are now the villains of the NFL.
I actually think that people will give the Bills a pass. They'll go, oh, well, all the emotion, blah, 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 it clearly affected them. But there's no doubt, you know who will hate you? CBS. Because CBS is like, yeah, we need a Buffalo-Cincinnati divisional game. And then I need, them against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Here's my question. If it's Chiefs-Bengals, is that game in Kansas City? Like, is it only a neutral field if it's Buffalo, Kansas City?
Correct.
Okay.
The fact that Cincinnati's going to have to go to Buffalo is an absolute joke.
Tell you what, that is not a good matchup for the Bills right now. Their defense is shaky.
Mm-hmm.
But for real, though, should Tua even play in this game?
Well, it's real simple. You let the medical people decide. If he's cleared, yeah, he should play. But if he's not cleared, no. No, I don't think Tua is going to play.
Yeah, I mean, his lettuce has been shaken a little too much.
Well, you just don't know with a concussion. I mean, somebody was put on IR because of a concussion, and then only 2 weeks later was back practicing, and everybody was like, "Oh wow, that team made a mistake putting him on IR." Well, 2-3 days into practice, he started feeling the effects of the concussion again. So.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. NFL playoffs are set. All three Florida teams are in. Jacksonville gets Saturday night. The Dolphins get the early game Sunday, 1 o'clock in Buffalo. The Bills, America's team. And then the Bucs Monday night playing the team formerly known as America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, we're pretty good at poll questions now that we don't do poll questions anymore.
Yes, we're getting better and better.
So how about this one? Which guy retires? Rodgers, Brady, neither, both? I vote neither. For the record,
I would vote neither as well. I didn't know if you wanted to play yes, no, maybe so there.
Well, I definitely think Brady's coming back. I'd be a maybe so with Rodgers. Interesting development yesterday. Jameson Williams for Detroit after the game wanted to do the whole jersey swap with Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers said to him, no, I'll hang on to this one. Huh?
Because he truly doesn't know.
So he says. I mean, you know what?
He's
Should
got to
Aaron
go
Rodgers
back to South America, do some trip out for a little bit, and figure out what his vision is.
I was just going to say, Mark, is his middle name maybe so?
I mean, what are the spirit horses telling him? That's what I want to know.
Jesse's dating the Bucks owner. He's part owner of the Bucks, you know. He owns 1% of the team. And he's dating the owner's daughter. She's 26. All right. Good for him. All right. Just keeping you up to date, Mark. You know, you want any Meghan and Harry news, who Aaron Rodgers is dating, you know, just let me know.
Thank you.
Some sports talk shows actually pay attention to the sports. All right. That's not always the case with me.
You pay attention to him, but I just, you know, it's Kate's birthday, so I never know what's going to happen on a royal birthday.
Right. And not only that, it's the day before the book's officially released. Now, I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
I know you say you're not going to buy it because all the excerpts are out there for you to read. I don't know. Put it this way. If it were October right now and you still had your travel in front of you, I don't think you could survive without it. Because nothing would be better than watching a middle-aged guy reading the
Spare.
book. Yes.
Yes. Reading the hardcover too.
Exactly.
Okay, right. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think it'd be great. Just for the looks alone. There are 3 things that get you looks on a plane. 1, your cable news channel of choice. Because, you know, obviously they're all, you know, the one's really left, the one's really right, and the other one is maybe so. They have no idea what they're doing. Right? They're totally up in the air. But everybody has their opinions of all 3. So if you are watching, whichever one you're watching, people then make their conclusions about you. That's number 1. Number 2, if you put a movie on and all of a sudden nudity appears, you feel as if this 5 to 8 people that are within your area code are all glued to you at that moment.
Yeah, I've watched many an hour type show where there's one quick thing and I freak out.
Exactly.
I'm diving at the.
Yep, totally. Fast forward. And next thing you know, you go ahead 23 minutes and you're like, oh, well, I'll just have to live with it. Right. Got to get it off the screen.
You really need the window seat.
Yes.
To pull off that, because then you can angle it. If you're going to watch something that's a little bit R-rated, that has more than language, because you should have the headsets on. But if you're going to watch something that's R-rated for nudity, you really should have the window seat.
And you know me, I'm an aisle guy. I insist I'll sit 15 rows further back if I can be on the aisle. So I'm always the aisle guy, so everybody can see everything that I'm doing. And then if you're reading a book. Yeah, because people will see you, you know, and they go, oh, look at what he's reading. He's reading Spare. And he's all into it, too. My goodness, he's read like 80 pages on this flight.
There's a yellow notepad next to him. He's taking notes.
He's folding the corners of pages.
Why does he have a highlighter while he's doing it?
So that's your big 3. All right. Just, you know, keep it in mind, act accordingly on the flights. That's all. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Landry coming up in about a dozen minutes. We'll get into TCU and Georgia.
But all 3 Florida teams have qualified for the NFL playoffs.
Yes!
One of them with a losing record.
Bill Clinton was president the last time that happened. How many of you even remember him?
How about that if I'd have told you all 3 teams were going to make the postseason and the Bucs would have the worst record of the 3?
Yeah, really. I know. I know.
None of them are favored.
Nope.
Jacksonville, a 1.5-point dog. The Bucks, a 2.5-point dog. And the Finns, well.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, some people are going to put a poll question up there. Which double-digit dog has the better chance of winning, Seattle or Miami?
Or TCU.
Hello. All right. If by chance Tua plays, how much of a shot do you give him? And I'll frame it this way. Same, better, or worse than you gave the Lions last night at Lambeau?
Better.
Really? So if Tua plays, you think the Dolphins have a better chance of beating Buffalo in the playoffs than you gave the Lions last night?
I didn't give the Lions any shot last night, David. I didn't. They're 3-27 at Lambeau, for crying out loud.
You know, they
don't sweep the Packers.
They're only a 4.5-point dog, you know.
I understand. It was Aaron Rodgers versus Jared Goff. How much of a shot did you give the Lions last night?
Well, I took the Packers and laid the 4.5 mark. I went 3-2 on the week. That was one of the two.
So, yes, if Tua plays with those receivers, with the way Mozart ran yesterday, I give them a shot.
Okay.
If there's no Tua, they have no shot. None.
Agree. Zip zilch nada. Which, by the way, maybe should help you determine whether or not you think he has any worth to you or not. I know a lot of people are really down on him and what have you. Do you know what's funny is that technically he won like the what's that stat? QB rating. He had the highest QB rating in the NFL this year. He beat out Mahomes. Like 105.5 to 105.1. Hey, speaking of Mahomes, what'd you think of the play that the Chiefs, the do-si-do play that the Chiefs ran? What'd you think?
Come on. The huddle itself was just incredible.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I mean, who didn't love the Cowboys? The first time you watch football and the Cowboys are different. They stood up.
Right. And they shifted and it stood up and down and what have you. You're like, oh, wow, it's cool.
That's cool.
All I could think of was your D lineman for the Raiders. And you're like, what the hell are they doing? Wait, they're still spinning around and around. Are they going to play? Oh, no, here they come. Huh. What are they running?
Yep. That whole play was the Chiefs in a nutshell.
Yeah, and also it's Andy Reid saying to the Raiders, we hate you guys. We have no respect for you guys.
None whatsoever.
Honestly. If we could beat you by 50, we'd beat you by 50.
Chris Landry coming up next to break down the Natty. The dogs and the frogs. How does he see it? We'll find out next right here on Miller and Moulton.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Life, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Life is supported with the help of local partners like Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria at 41 and Wiggins Pass. Award-winning pizza with a cool rock and roll theme. Don't miss North Naples' newest sensation, Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria. When it's time to leave, book with the award-winning service for Naples Daily News Best of 2021. 250-mile radius, live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Serving a 250-mile radius of Southwest Florida over 15 airports. Salt Life Transportation, the official transportation of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show. Book now, 239-308-8686, or online at saltlifetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Morning, Chris.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. How you guys doing? Happy New Year.
Happy
And
New Year.
to you as well. How you been?
Hanging in there. How about you guys?
Doing okay. Sorry for the loss of your friend Mike Leach.
Yeah, it's been a tough week, man. It's been a tough couple of weeks. Yeah.
But so what do you do between now and the draft?
Oh gosh, what don't I do? Yeah,
Oh, that's what I figured.
Yeah, it's the busiest time really. It's well, first of all, the coaching search cycle's kind of dialed down in college just in time for it to start in the NFL. So that's a big part of what I do. NFL free agency work, which the film work's done largely during the year, but tried to disseminate who's going to do what with who people are going to keep, retain, whatever. So there's free agency, the second wave of free agency, second wave of recruiting in college, and draft preparation goes on all year round. So that takes me really busy through April, and then by the time we get done with that, May, June, and July is more of the most things are settled in, rosters are settled in. You pretty much know only to that point who's coming back, NFL or college now, and then it's more towards preparing for the next season. Then,
question here in our Twitch chat room: do you see Stetson Bennett as someone who gets drafted, and do you think he's good enough to be a backup in the league?
Yeah, I think he's good enough to be maybe a Colt McCoy type of guy. I hope all those guys could stick around for as long as Colt had. That's about what he can be. He is capable as a backup because he's a smart guy. The one thing, and this is not a knock, he's from money, and I wonder, if he's going to want to be as dedicated to be a backup as he was to earn the starting job. That's what I don't know.
Or does he just want to start up Stetson Bennett Ford and call it?
Yeah, it's you don't know what guys want to do. Really, it's really true. So I think that's his physical potential there is to be a backup, maybe
Chris,
a late round guy.
We joked last year as they were winning that he is going to have the largest insurance company.
Yeah,
in
probably true
in Northeast Georgia there,
and probably going to play golf every day and drink. Have the going to have that, and and hey, you know what? He's done it, and if he can finish it off tonight, he'll do something that no one's done in anybody's lifetime. For Georgia anyway.
Here we go.
Right.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, our final segment in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice. The bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour in the 239, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Longtime friend of the show, Chris Landry, kind enough to join us once again. TCU, Georgia, for the national championship tonight. Georgia favored by roughly 12.5. Follow Chris on Twitter at Landry Football, and please download his site. It is chock full of all kinds of information, from Cliff Notes to a Faulkner novel. LandryFootball.com, LandryFootball.com. Chris, belated Happy New Year. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. Belated Happy New Year to you and all your listeners.
Well, let's go back just a little bit to these semifinal games. As you were going through your notes and getting ready for this final game, just how surprising was it that TCU got through Michigan? I mean, Michigan made some colossal mistakes down in the red zone. They turned it over a few times. When you look back at it, was it how much closer was that game, even though it was a tremendous game as it was, Chris?
Yeah, I was surprised how Michigan played it. You mentioned the mistakes and the turnovers that were very costly, but I thought their strategy was really surprised me. I didn't think it was good, and I'm not just talking about the call in the red zone where you take it and run it. They didn't play the game very well. I thought they had a strategy that was ill-equipped to take advantage of their strength against TCU, and I thought TCU baited them in some situations to kind of play their game. I think they kind of drug them into their water instead of the other way. I thought it would be the opposite, and I thought Michigan really had a poor game plan, not to take away anything from TCU because they played well. The big thing for TCU defensively is, yes, they play a 3-3-5, but they leave their corners out on an island, and they will play numbers in the box. And while they don't really hold up at the point of attack, they are quick into gaps, and I thought they did a really good job of penetrating the gaps, the A and B gaps, consistently against Michigan, and that really kind of thwarted their running game, which was completely opposite of what we saw against Ohio State.
What does TCU do that you think that they will genuinely take away from Georgia, if anything? Because I think we're all looking at this game from at least I think Miller and Moulton are. We're looking at it kind of like, well, is TCU going to be able to run? Are they going to be able to, can they do this? Can they do that? We think we know what we're getting from Georgia. So let's go to TCU. Is there something about them in which you think, you know what, guys, I think they'll take this away from Georgia?
Well, defensively, let's start there because I think this is where this Georgia team is strongest, is on offense in a different way. I think you've got to take away the run. So I think they're going to continue to try to be very aggressive with their front because that's what they do. They don't have a power lineup. They can't sit there and we're going to get bigger and stronger. So they're going to attack upfield, and they're going to try to take away Georgia's run, and they're going to try to do a good job of taking away the tight ends, the big slots, basically, the inside receivers in the passing game. That's what they're going to do defensively, I think. Offensively, I mean, for TCU to win it, it's going to have to be the Max Duggan show, like it was in the Big 12 championship game where they were giving them oxygen on the field, and it's going to have to be that game. In order for them to have success, the way you try to run the football against Georgia is you can implement the quarterback in the run game, and that's what Max Duggan can do that C.J. Stroud doesn't do, not many guys can. He can do that. He can do it very effectively. TCU has a great receiver, but they've got three other guys that are good. So here's the whole key to the game for TCU. They've got to block Georgia's front. Yes, they can make plays against this Georgia secondary if you have time. Georgia can kill you at the line of scrimmage. I think the real key is the interior three, which both left, right guard, and centers are seniors for TCU. They're going to have to help. They're going to have to block Jalen Carter. He can disrupt the game. He's the most important player in the game, not the quarterbacks. He's the most disruptive force. And if they can block him, you can attack downfield. If you can't block him, you can't. Now, in the first half, Georgia couldn't get pressure on Ohio State. Ohio State is an elite talent, great receivers, and they torched them. The second half, you saw Georgia get the pass rush going, and Ohio State wasn't nearly as effective.
All right, when you talked about TCU defensively, you talked about clogging up the middle from the pass game. That could be effective because Georgia's elite at the tight end position. Their wideouts aren't as good as that seems to me, Chris, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Stetson Bennett to make plays to his wideouts in this game.
Well, here's the thing that Stetson Bennett did not do well against Ohio State. All of a sudden, Ohio State's having some success offensively. So Stetson Bennett starts to play hero ball. I'm going to force the ball. I'm going to match points. And that just absolutely, I could use a stronger word. I'll just say ticked off the head coach and the coordinator, because you do what you're taught to do. There's an option on every play. Hit the check down. That's what we do. And he didn't do that, and he forced it. Look, guys, I think that Georgia's performance offensively and their missed assignments and their impatience is going to serve them well in this game. I think that's been drilled down. I don't feel like they feel that TCU can beat them, that the only way that they lose the game is if they lose it. And so I think that what you're going to see is a more patient offense. Look, if it's not there, we'll punt it. We'll take the check down. We'll play a little field position. That's what they didn't do, because I think they got a little bit intimidated in the fact that they needed to match points with Ohio State, and I think they got out of their game. They got out of their rhythm.
He's Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com, LandryFootball.com, longtime coach and scout. Follow him on Twitter @LandryFootball, @LandryFootball. You told us about TCU earlier in the season than I think any other national person was first talking about TCU. You brought them up in mid-October to us. You followed them in the Big 12 very closely. You also were following Kansas State. You thought if anybody there was going to beat them, it was going to be them, and they got them in the end. What is it that we've missed about TCU? They were picked 7th in their league. They were 28-1 to win the league, 200-1 to be in the spot they're in now. What is it, Chris, that we missed?
Well, I think there are a couple of key transfers, and I want to go big picture here for a second. I'm wondering. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm wondering if we're entering a new era, not just with the 12-team playoff, but with college free agency, might we see more of this? The off-brand get in. So I'm wondering. I think there were some key guys, not numbers, but key guys that helped them. Now they lost some guys too, but like a good running back. I think the fact that they're deep at running back, they're deep at receiver, and they hit on the quarterback. Look, you talk about who missed. Sonny and them, just like Tennessee didn't know that it was Hendon Hooker last year, Max Duggan was not the starter. That's okay. You earn it. He won the team, and that's given them a big edge. And defensively, they're playing to their personality. Speed, will attack, will be aggressive. And I just think the team got together. Look, it's not like they dominated the Big 12. They came back in game after game after game. But there's a lot of confidence. There's a lot of an attitude in a good way that we're going to find a way to win. And I think they were poised in the moment. I knew Sonny's dad very, very well. And he was very good to me in my coaching career. And Sonny is complete. He's like his mom. He's not like his dad. He is so cool. Like in the moment, he's intense. But, boy, he's just kind of like, yeah, we're good. We're good. And I think that is permeated through his team. And I don't think if he has a different personality, I don't know if 2 or 3 of those games go the other way. Under pressure, they were the best. So if it's close tonight, man, they certainly are not going to get rattled. I know that.
Does Kirby's personality serve Georgia the same? I mean, they're polar opposites, but when you're the defending national champ, it almost sounds like Kirby's attitude's the right attitude for this Georgia team too, Chris.
Yeah, Georgia's got all the talent. I mean, even though they're not as talented as last year, they got playmakers that can call on different things, which is why, again, he's of the attitude. He's kind of like Saban in that regard. It's like, Stetson, don't go out there and try to put the game on your back. You know, you've earned the job because you make good decisions, and you're not making good decisions. That was his comment to him, you know, last week. So, yes, it's about they're kind of poised under pressure because they've been in big games. They've got a lot of talent. But I will say this. I think if the game is close at the end, I think there's going to be more pressure on Georgia. I think TCU wants to win just as much as Georgia, but I think there's a lot of belief that, well, TCU has done more than anybody expected. Georgia was expected to be here. TCU wasn't.
Bigger injury going into the game tonight. TCU's top tailback, he's 50-50 at best. I know he and they are talking about he's going to play. We had their radio guy on who said on Friday he didn't think he would play, or Darnell Washington, the number 2 tight end. But, you know, to me, Georgia's offense is very different, Chris, if it's just Bowers, okay, versus if it's Bowers and Washington.
Yeah. Look, I think Georgia can overcome the loss better, but there's no doubt that the offense is built around the tight ends more than just one back at TCU because their backs are more fungible. Now, again, I think Georgia is the better overall team, but not having Washington, that hurts him in the run game and the pass game. I mean, he's a freak athletically. He's the guy. Bowers is a inside receiver is what he is, that sometimes lines up a little bit in the Y, but he's more detached. Washington is the freakish guy that's 270 and can run. He makes a huge difference in a big mismatch. I'm not saying it's going to it's a bigger factor in terms of and I understand, by the way, it's going to be pain tolerance with him. And so I think they'll shoot him up and see, and we'll go. So the offense runs through more of Washington, bigger loss, but I think Georgia's got, you know, other ways in which they can win in all three facets, more talented, obviously.
Take turnovers out. What is it that TCU can't do in this game? What is it that TCU has to avoid doing for them to win?
Well, they can't let Georgia's running game get unleashed, because if Georgia can compress the game, it limits the possessions, and TCU lives off of possessions. That's how they're able to come back. So when you're able to come back and you know, overcome deficits, it's due to the maximum possessions, particularly in the second half. Georgia gets a lead and they start running the football and they're attacking you, then that's going to get some opportunities in the passing game. And then that's going to create the type of balance that TCU would have a hard time winning with.
Listen, I think Georgia's going to win and they're going to cover, but I think TCU's corners can cover Georgia's wide receivers man to man. I mean, yes. I think they can put 8+ in the box on that running game. I think they have a chance to disrupt Georgia's running game just from a numbers standpoint.
I agree. I think the difference between Michigan and Georgia is that Georgia's going to have a better game plan. Their offense is different. They can work the passing game better, in which Michigan didn't and wouldn't. And I think Georgia's going to be more committed to the run. I think that Michigan, again, had a bad game plan. I guess you know where I'm going. I think Michigan with a better game plan probably would have won the game. They didn't.
Who do you like?
I think Georgia will win. Kind of like David, I want it to be close. I'm talking myself into a fourth quarter game. I'm going to be thrilled if TCU's got a chance. And I think they'll have a chance in the second half. I'm thinking we go into the fourth quarter with it no more than a possession, maybe 2. I think Georgia wins ultimately and probably covers that spread.
He's Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. LandryFootball.com. He will do an obscene amount of work between now and the second signing day, NFL free agency, draft prep work. Follow Chris on Twitter at LandryFootball, at LandryFootball. Chris, we'll try not to bother you, but we do like talking to you, so it's a double-edged sword for us.
Well, thanks for having me, and you guys call anytime. You know I'm here for you. Appreciate you. Enjoy the game tonight.
You too. Chris Landry, kind enough to join us once again and preview TCU and Georgia. All right, I'm on the record. Go for it.
I like the points. I've liked the points all along. I think we're going to get a decent game. I think Georgia wins 34-27, 34-26, but I think TCU covers.
Over under, by the way, 63.5. So, Mark's over under has it ever so slightly under. I would probably lean ever so slightly over. I think Georgia gets to 40 for what it's worth. TCU and Georgia tonight. It's on ESPN. Coverage starts at 7:30. Kick, I think, a little after 8. So there you go. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. The bonus hour's next.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Life, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Life is supported with the help of local partners like Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria at 41 and Wiggins Pass. Award-winning pizza with a cool rock and roll theme. Don't miss North Naples' newest sensation, Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria. When it's time to leave, book with the award-winning service for Naples Daily News Best of 2021. 250-mile radius, live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Serving a 250-mile radius of Southwest Florida over 15 airports. Salt Life Transportation, the official transportation of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show. Book now, 239-308-8686, or online at saltlifetransportation.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. David, are you sold on Bryce Young being a special NFL quarterback?
I wish he was a little bigger. He's probably 5'11". I'll say this, Mark. His skill set I'm sold on. I do worry about, and he's 160 pounds. I don't care what they list him at. He's like Prince. He's so skinny. I mean that. So his size does concern me. Like, remember I was high on Russell Wilson, really high. But I thought Russ was thick. I thought Russ physically could play in the NFL, even though he was 5'10" and 5/8. For those that don't know, we both fell all over each other about Andrew Luck, but RG3 went second that year, and I loved Russ more. And Mark was never a Russ guy.
And I was never an RG3 guy either.
No, for the record, he wasn't. He was right about that. By the way, nicest guy. I've run into him like 4 times this year.
He seems like the coolest guy to hang. He just seems like a cool guy.
Poses for every photo, signs every autograph. Everybody who comes up to him, even the guys running into the elevator with him, and he's nice to everybody.
I mean, think about it. For kids my age, like my generation, he's iconic. He was so damn good at Baylor.
Well, in his first year in the NFL.
Yeah. He was on the cover of the last – oh, no, it wasn't him. But he was on the cover of one of the last NCAA football games on the Xbox.
Coming back.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's the only reason my kid keeps his PlayStation 3 because they have to on that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the only game anybody plays on a PlayStation 3 is NCAA.
David, I don't know if you know this, but there's a mode on those NCAA games where you can play with the mascots.
Oh, David, did you know that? Guy who's never played a video game in his life.
Every player on the field is the mascot.
The mascot?
Yes.
Why am I going to play the mascot?
It's hilarious. You should play with this. Play with Stanford. Run it down the gut with the tree. $30. 10 seconds.
Yes, Johnny. We agree.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Bonus hour, Miller and Moulton, on this second Monday of the new year. National Championship Monday in college football. Black Monday in the NFL, where a whole bunch of people are going to lose their jobs. Lovie Smith lost his last night. Browns making some staff changes. Doesn't look as if that's going to be Stefanski. But then again, it's early. It's early. I mean, what are we, 16 hours into certain teams' off season? Less than 12 hours into others. I mean, it's early. Give it till this afternoon. Never mind tomorrow.
I happened to have all 3 AFC games on yesterday. I had the Bills and the Patriots and the Jets and the Dolphins and the Steelers game on all simultaneously, trying to watch the whole playoff thing.
Sure.
And I've not watched much of the Browns this year for all of the obvious reasons. And maybe that roster was depleted, but boy, oh boy, watching Deshaun Watson play doesn't look very good.
Now, he was playing against a good defense. I mean, you got to give him that.
And they got a good pass rush, and they put him down quite a few times. But throws behind guys, bad throws. And again, you're right, it's a good defense. But I just kind of watched that game going, can't string along a lot of first downs.
Who would you rather have be your quarterback next year? Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson?
Next question. I would try. Wow, that is such a difficult question.
Both of whom need to be rehabilitated. Okay, there's no doubt.
One's a bad dude, one's a phony.
Well, but also the bad dude hasn't basically played in 2 years. Like, we don't know if the bad dude has lost it or he's just rusty and he just needs a little bit of time to find it. And when he does, he's going to be a top 6 quarterback in the league again. You know, that, I mean, if we go back to 2020, I mean, you know, Deshaun Watson was the top 6 quarterback in the league, maybe top 4. I mean, he was an elite quarterback. That's not an inaccurate statement. When he was last playing regularly, before we all know what happened, he was an elite quarterback. And now look at him. And a year ago at this time, Russell Wilson was at the very least a franchise quarterback. So was Derek Carr. But just stick with these two. Wilson or Watson? You're Sean Payton. Which one would you like to rehabilitate? I mean, it's an interesting question.
It's a fascinating question because the football part of me says Deshaun Watson.
He's younger, bigger, stronger. You know, you think you have it. You're worried that if one guy's shaking off rust and the other guy, though, might be on the wrong side of the cliff, you'd rather work with the guy who you think is just shaking off rust. Right.
But if I'm wrong,
yeah, exactly.
I went to rehabilitate a guy who's a bad dude, and I've wasted time with a guy who I don't want to be in the same room as.
Yeah, but don't worry. There's only about 4 or so years left at $46 million a year on that fully guaranteed deal. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
That's the part of this that I was watching Steelers and Browns going, if he's broken.
Right.
And I know it's a different position, but Le'Veon Bell left for a year, was never the same guy.
No.
If Deshaun left for a year and then was suspended for 3/4 of the next and is never the same guy.
Right.
Look at where the Browns are.
Well, I will say this just very quickly. Look at the advantage the Steelers will have for the next 3 to 4 years in terms of the money that they get to spend at the quarterback position versus the teams in their division. Because Burrow's finishing up his 3rd year. Since he gets one more year and then it's going to have to be real money. They may technically pick up his option, but they'll work it where by year 5, they're going to have to start paying real money for Joe Burrow. Lamar, they're probably going to have to start paying real money beginning next year.
Not probably, going to have to, no matter what, no matter how this works out. You franchise him, it's a ton of money. You sign him, it's still a ton of money.
And Cleveland's paying 46 per for at least the next 4. Meanwhile, the Steelers have 3 years of $2 million a year for Kenny Pickett.
Right, as they're paying the running back a rookie deal, and they're paying their best receiver a rookie deal.
Right. And their tight end hasn't renegotiated yet either. I mean, so from a cap standpoint, now we could argue from a talent standpoint, the Steelers may have the worst. But I'm just saying they have a huge advantage right now in terms of the money that they're spending at that position in the division versus everybody else. I'd still rather be Cincinnati because, Mark, it's tough to find a Joe Burrow.
David, it's funny you say that. I got a good friend who is from Cincinnati area, and his wife is a proud University of Kentucky alum. Okay. And as Alabama is goat rodeoing Kentucky on Saturday, I was thinking about my buddy's wife and how upset she gets when UK loses. And I sent him a text, and I wasn't being a jerk because I didn't send it to her. I sent it to him. I said, how is, used her name, handling UK being god awful? He said, pretty good. She's fed up with them. Turned off the game at halftime a couple of weeks ago. But whenever she gets too mad, she just watches Joe Burrow videos.
There you go.
That'll do it.
Yep.
My response to that one, David, everyone could use a Joe Burrow.
Yeah, well, you really could. You really could. Even if you have a Mahomes and a Josh Allen, nothing wrong with a side of Joe Burrow. Really isn't. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Hey, can we just go trip down memory lane? And by memory lane, I say not even 5 months ago.
Okay.
Okay. For the record, NFL over-unders, 17 teams went over, 15 went under.
Okay.
If you were keeping track of it, overs made a late push. All the teams that start with S's and T's and what have you, Mark, big push. They all went over. Otherwise, under was kicking butt most of the way. So Arizona's Vegas win total was 8.5. They won 4. Atlanta 4.5. They won 6. There were a couple that were close. The Ravens were 10.5. They finished with 10. Ouch. One of the 6 games yesterday that determined season-long over-under bets. Bills were 11.5. Carolina 6.5. The win yesterday got them to 7. Bears, Mark, 5.5. Couldn't even get to it.
Well, you and I did have them on the clock when the season started, for the record.
We did. We bet them hard, and when they were 3-4, we were catching a lot of grief. Fortunately, they finished 3-14. Cincy was 9.5. Cleveland was 8.5. They finished with 7. Dallas 9.5. Denver 9.5. They won 5. Detroit 6.5. We thought that was a great bet. You know, we thought they'd at least get to 6. The question was, would they get to 7? I went over. I know that. Where are we going here? Green Bay, 11.5. Green Bay, along with Buffalo and Tampa Bay, had the 3 highest over-unders. All at 11.5. 2 of the 3, obviously, didn't even finish above 500. Houston, 4.5, and they couldn't go over. Care to take a guess what Indianapolis's over-under was?
8.5?
Higher.
9.5?
Higher.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. The team that finished 4-12-1 and lost their last 7 had a 10.5 as an over-under. Jacksonville, 6.5. Kansas City, 10.5. Raiders, 8.5, and they only got to 6. Chargers, with the loss yesterday, went under. Their over-under was 10.5. They won 10. Rams were also 10.5. Miami was 8.5, as was New England. So one went over, one went under because of the results yesterday. Giants and Jets were both 6.5. They both went over. Niners were 10.5, still went over. Seattle, 5.5. They make the playoffs. Hit the 3rd lowest over-under. 3rd or 4th lowest, they made the playoffs. But Mark, Pittsburgh, 7.5. Tennessee, 9.5. Washington at 7.5. Yesterday with the win, they got to 8. 6 over-unders decided yesterday. 17 overs, 15 unders at the end of the year.
As far as Miller and Moulton go, David had 10 of 14 playoff teams right. I had 11 of 14 playoffs teams right. So not awful.
My Super Bowl's Tampa Bay Buffalo, with Buffalo winning.
Your Super Bowl is still alive. Mine was Buffalo beating Green Bay.
That's going to be a problem.
Trust me, I was hoping for Green Bay to sneak into that 7 slot just to keep that one alive.
You're like the guy who's filling out the NCAA tournament brackets, okay? And right now you're at 1st or 2nd in points, but one of your Final 4 teams is gone.
Yep. Already have lost. Looking really good. Right on top of the leaderboard.
Totally.
Hey, look, Miller's winning the
right.
Oh.
And you'll look pretty good after the next round, too. Okay? And he's like, yeah, he's done. Take a look at his Final 4. He's done.
Done.
So, there you have it. Just some stuff there. You know, just trying to keep things in perspective. What thoughts were. So that's why, you picked the Colts to win the South. I just wanted to remind everybody, Vegas said they're over under at 10.5. They're picking fifth, right? Fourth, I'm sorry. Fourth, because they lost yesterday. They're picking fourth. Yeah. Fourth. Over under 10.5, picking fourth. Yeah.
It's all right. Denver would have been picking fifth. The
Right.
Rams would have been picking sixth.
Yeah.
They don't have those picks.
Oh, they traded him away. At least the Rams got a Super Bowl out of it. Denver got Russell Wilson. Now, that's a heavy drinking offseason right there.
And we'll see what coach wants to go to Denver, because I don't think Sean Payton's interested. I don't. That'll tell you everything you need to know about Russell Wilson.
I think they're going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Miller and Moulton, the bonus hour continues. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Life, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Life is supported with the help of local partners like Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria at 41 and Wiggins Pass. Award-winning pizza with a cool rock and roll theme. Don't miss North Naples' newest sensation, Zeffy's Tavern and Pizzeria. When it's time to leave, book with the award-winning service for Naples Daily News Best of 2021. 250-mile radius, live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Serving a 250-mile radius of Southwest Florida over 15 airports. Salt Life Transportation, the official transportation of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show. Book now, 239-308-8686, or online at saltlifetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, he's under contract with the Saints for 2 more seasons. So the Saints are going to have to. That's why, in theory, you have to ask permission from the Saints. So, like, if Carolina called, I'm sure the Saints would go, no. Yeah, KW, the problem is with that contract, he's untradeable. Mm-hmm. Mark, if you were Sean Payton and I were the Houston Texans, and I offered you 25 plus million a year and a blank piece of paper and a pen, with where they are with draft capital, picks 2 and 12, cap room.
I'd be interested, David, because that division's in a bad spot.
Here you go. 2 of the 4 teams, Tennessee and Indianapolis, clearly
I'd
have
be
to
fascinated by the Chargers, but I still have to play against Mahomes.
That's why I'm wondering. I mean, they just fired 2 coaches in 2 years. So, I mean, they're not thought of well around the league, but
25 seconds.
No, but did anybody expect Lovie Smith to get the job?
Mm-mm.
Also, I just want to say really quick, I'd take Watson over Russ. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts, all coming up in roughly 20 minutes' time. National title game tonight, TCU and Georgia. We're both picking Georgia to win. I'm picking them to cover. Mark's taking the points with the Frogs. By the way, are they horned frogs or are they frogs? I know they're called the horned frogs, but it's kind of like in the last 2 weeks, people have eliminated half of the name. It's kind of like, Golden Knights. No, we're just going to call them the Knights.
Well, I mean, they're the Bulldogs. We call them the Dogs.
I was about to say they're the Dogs, but
they don't say go Bulldogs. They say go Dogs. Sick 'em. Woof, woof, woof. That's what they do.
Go Frogs.
Florida fans know that. They're sick of it by now.
How about them Dogs? Right.
Right.
Well, I'm just wondering. I mean, I know they're called the Horned Frogs. I get that. You don't have to email me and say, well, their nickname is. I understand, but that doesn't mean that we're referring to them as. Just wondering, did
it's just the alliteration, frogs and dogs, and I like it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fair enough. 4 jobs that are currently open: Houston, Carolina, Denver, Indianapolis. Everyone expecting Arizona to open quickly.
In fact, they're meeting this afternoon, so that could happen
right
by dinner time.
Yeah. By the way, how hireable do you think he is? I mean, for the record, they went from 5 wins to 8 wins to 11 wins his first 3 years. This year, half the roster's on the IR. Okay. Murray goes south. they have the year that they have. It's going to cost him his job. And when you look at him, are you thinking Saturdays or Sundays?
There's the question. That's exactly what I was going to ask back to you. Is he more hireable for Saturdays or for Sundays? Does he have to go, and not necessarily rehabilitate, but is he going to go coordinate somewhere?
And I'm guessing he takes the year off, but I'm just curious. When you look at him, are you thinking NFL or college?
I was really more along the lines thinking of him being an analyst at Alabama next year.
That funny. That funny. You know funny. That funny. So I don't know how many more we get, besides those 5. I mean, usually we get more.
And usually we get one we're not necessarily expecting. And you brought up earlier, David, what team in the playoffs is most likely to lose their coach if they're bounced in the first round?
Well, it is interesting. 2 of my 3 are facing one another, Bowles and McCarthy. My other one's Staley. I think if Staley and the Chargers lose to the Jags, that he's going to get fired. I do. But that's me. Now, Spanos is not a throw money around owner, and to get Sean Payton, it's apparently going to take more money than any coach has ever been paid by a large margin. Big money. Like, going to throw people for a tizzy and they're going to be breathless. He's going to get so much money. I'll make your prediction right now. Sean Payton's going to get 25.
Well, I've thought it's going to be 20 all along, so 25 doesn't floor me.
I think he's going to get 25. He's going to get 4 for 100. Technically, they may make it 5 or 6, but, based in terms of guaranteed money, whatever, I think he's going to get 4 for 100. But those are my 3. 2 of them are facing one another. So, I mean, we like to, for games, say winners in, losers out. I mean, how crazy it's not like Joe and Troy are going to say this next Monday night, but I mean, winner gets to keep their job, loser doesn't.
Got all the makings of a Monday Night Raw, and it's a Monday Night Football game.
Now, I mean, most of us expect that with McCarthy, that if they lose in the first round, he'll be fired. 12 wins in the regular season doesn't mean anything at this point. But I'm curious, Bucks fan. They won the division.
And that's where, by the way, they fire him. That's where Sean Payton's going to get his $25 million from.
Oh, really? You think it's going to be at one Bucks place, huh?
No, in Dallas.
Okay. Gotcha.
If Dallas loses. Although, would you put it past the Bucks?
Well, no. They're the ones that made the Gruden trade. They give up 2 first-round picks. They know what it takes. Now, here's the deal. I don't think the Saints would let Sean Payton stay in the division. That's why I think Carolina's out. I think if Tampa makes a move, it's out. I will say this, though, and I know Sean's got a house in Dallas and all that. You sure you want to work for Jerry Jones? I mean, he's kind of nuts. And his way of doing things hasn't worked for 30 years. And if you're Sean Payton, who's your number one mentor? Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells worked for Jerry. And Jerry, the first 3 years, let Bill do whatever he wanted. But once they got good, Jerry wanted the credit. And then all of a sudden, there was Jerry on the sidelines again, talking about all the moves he's making. Parcells looking around going, moves you're making? You haven't done a damn thing in 3 years. What are you talking about?
I guess I'm thinking in terms of if it's actually going to be 20 to 25 million, who out there not named Denver would pay that kind of money?
See, there you go. I think the guy in Carolina would. I think the guy in Denver would.
And I think the guy in Dallas would. Because all he wants is to hoist that trophy. And if this is what he thinks gets it done, he would make the move. Right now, doesn't matter the cost.
By the way, folks are asking in our Twitch chat room, is Sean Payton really worth 25 a year? No, but it's not a matter of what you're worth. It's a matter of what you can get. Just telling you, All right, that the word is that's what he's going to be asking for. First digit's going to be a 2.
It's another poll question. Where's Sean Payton going to come? I mean, we've had 7 poll questions today. This is why we don't put any up on the show.
Right. Because otherwise we look scatterbrained. It's like, could you guys settle on 1? My goodness. But we mentioned this team off air. We can mention them on. If you're the Houston Texans, blank piece of paper and a pen, I'll give you $25 million a year. By the way, it's Texas. There's no taxes on that money. You're in a bad division. I got picks 2 and 12, and my cap room's got cap room. Now, it's not Bears cap room, but it's cap room.
And speaking of the Bears, will they be auctioning that pick off?
Or do those guys go, we didn't draft Fields?
We like Bryce Young a lot.
Yeah, or C.J. Stroud. Right? You know. So, anyway, you got that whole part of this whole NFL offseason, which is now underway. So there. Hell, the Rams job might open up. You know, they get their regulars back. I mean, Stafford, Donald, Cup, those are pretty good players this just in.
And I never thought, I have trouble buying into Schefter's whole thing because I just don't see McVay winning the Super Bowl. Then everything goes south and then you leave the Rams.
I'm with you. I don't think he would. I think he feels as if he owes the organization a little bit more. He may already be planning his exit, within a couple years down the road, but I don't think he wants to leave the organization like this. I mean, they'd be picking 6th if they had their pick. I don't think he wants to go out like that.
But they traded that pick, so Detroit is picking 6th in the draft.
6th and 18th for the Lions, 2 and 12 for the Texans. Seattle's picking 5th, and then they'll find out. When they lose, they'll probably be picking like 19th or 20th. And Philly's picking 10th and, well, wherever they end up. So that'll be pretty far down there.
Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, the ugly. Today was a day win. That's all next right here on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I don't think there's any passwords on any of this shit in here.
Will be soon.
That will change.
Everything's gonna have a password. They're all gonna be on domain. So we need to get him. How are we gonna get him?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Chris will have to figure that out.
Yeah. We're gonna have to create a login for you because you're here.
For Felipe, they may have to create an employee.
He is an
login.
employee.
He's not yet.
No, he's not.
You're not,
Not yet.
but we're paying you.
No,
No,
we pay him.
You're still paying him.
We've
I
all
heard that they were gonna put him on payroll.
from who?
I don't know. Yeah.
You getting a job here, Felipe? He'd
I
take
don't
it.
know. Maybe I misunderstood what they said. I don't pay
They're
attention.
working on it. They're trying to get him as a part-timer or something so they can have a login.
I gotta have logins because they're gonna make us change all these computers.
Mm-hmm. That's a problem because they don't want anybody using computers unless they're employees. That's a corporate decision. You know how that goes.
Huh?
This one's 166138. And this one is actually, what is it?
How that works?
I don't know. This is what address it has. So it's gonna be one of the three in there. 3, 4 or so, whatever's in there. So we'll wait after he gets off and we'll figure it out. Yes,
Hey, do you have,
every
a,
other
do you
day
have
they
an
make it.
extra headset microphone thing that I could borrow for a weekend?
I don't have any extras.
All right. I'll see if Gentry has one. If not, I might order one online this week.
There was 2 that were still here, but the old ones all fell fucking apart.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think I have.
All right.
I'll look around. If there might be a sort of tore up one, but might be one.
I've got a lot of, because I'm supposed to go to Orlando. I might be doing the show on the road Monday. We'll see. I'm hoping that the weather being cold enough this weekend, because my wife she's got a work thing. We can just hang by the pool. I looked at the weather this weekend. It's supposed to be like
80s, isn't it?
no, this coming weekend it's supposed to be like 60 and 30. So I might just say,
All up there, yeah.
well, here too.
Oh, really?
We're supposed to get a cold snap this weekend.
I know there was another cold snap, but I didn't know it was gonna make it. Anyway, as always, they're trying to make our lives very difficult.
As well they should.
And they should. Well, it's okay. I'm only gonna be here.
Don't blame me.
Well, the reason is we're waiting for the dog to pass away. Well, one of them had something, died real quick, real suddenly. Such a good boy. Went out, peed, went and pooped, came in, had a cookie, smiled, had some water, fell over dead.
That
was the most beautiful.
That's the way you do it right there.
But it was a shock because that was not the one. That was the younger of the 2 dogs.
That was
the old bitch. It looks like an old little bitch. And she had a Thursday, 2:00 in the morning, had a seizure. Thought she was going to die then. And it's weird because, when they're having a seizure, they're gone. And all of a sudden she stops and she turns around. She looks at me, big bright eyes, and tries to crawl out of my wife's arms into me. And she's still alive. She's teetering right on the edge. So I hope she's passing away in her sleep one night. I don't want to have any more screaming, sneezing dogs.
Oh.
Yes. And then I can't sleep.
What the hell is going on in there, bro? I know no one cares, but the Lakers are undefeated in 2023.
They are playing better. It's funny, they're 11th in the West, and yet they're 2 games out of like 6th or 5th.
They need AD back so bad. Mark, 15 seconds.
See ya.
All right, 10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, 17 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. TCU, Georgia tonight. Their coverage kicks off on the four-letter network at 7:30. What are we thinking? 8:15 kick?
Somewhere
like
there. It's on every single network that they possibly have it on.
Except ABC, though. All right, which is interesting. I keep waiting for when are they going to put it on ABC? Yeah, you would think the amount of money they spend covering the sport, what the heck? But I think next year Monday Night Football's moving to ABC. Thought I heard that.
Every once in a while, I'll give one of the other broadcasts. This is where I wish they were synced up. This is where, because the main broadcast is a second or two ahead of every other broadcast.
Right.
So if you wanted to sync it up, whether it's the coaches talking or whatever it is, you just get sick of the broadcast, want to listen to something else, it makes it a little cumbersome to do so. Because the problem is that very rarely do any of the other feeds give you the camera work from the main feed. Some do, if you want to do the home or visiting radio and some of that stuff. But sometimes the coaches, the coach room has some fun insight.
Right. Speaking of radio, by the way, Todd Blackledge's last gig for ESPN is tonight. Doing the game with, Todd Blackledge, late Friday, Saturday. He's leaving for NBC. Noah Eagle, Todd Blackledge will be the Saturday night Big Ten on NBC package. So Blackledge leaving ESPN. He left CBS to go to ESPN. Gary Danielson left ABC ESPN to go to CBS. Todd made the move first. Gary, came right.
It wasn't a
behind him.
trade. It just seemed like one.
Exactly. It was one of those deals. Wait a minute, we're losing you in free agency? Well, then I know exactly who we're getting. Boom. Next day, you hold your press conference. So he's been, with the four-letter network 17 years. But he moving to NBC. He lives in Big Ten country, if you will. I think either Pennsylvania or Ohio. And so I just think the travel will be easier on him. He's in his early 60s. And there you go. Don't know if he's going to bring over with him the whole, food of the town deal. I think he turned that into like a cookbook or a book of some kind. Taste of the Town, is that what he did?
Taste
there
of
you
the
go.
Town.
So don't know if he's still going to do that or not. But Noah Eagle, Todd Blackledge, Saturday nights, NBC. NBC said we're going to try to make as big a deal of this as we do the NFL. They've got Maria Taylor hosting it, by the way, doing the pregame show, highlights and all that. And so they're putting their best foot forward.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1788, Connecticut becomes number 5. They ratify the Constitution. 1811, the first women's golf tournament is held. January the 9th. Today in 52, the Marines give notice that they will recall Ted Williams to active duty. Did he serve twice? 52. Did he serve twice?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
First one wasn't enough, huh?
He did 5 years.
Right.
And I mean, in his prime, in his early prime, and then his late prime. 5 years. Take a look at his career numbers and realize he missed 5 prime years. Remember, we did the show one time in which we did the average of his 3 seasons before and 3 seasons after each tenure at tour of duty, if you will. And when we added them up, he would have had 711 home runs. And obviously, when he retired, Ruth held the record at 714.
1958, Oscar Robinson would score 56. Seton Hall that night would only have 54. The TV show Rawhide premiered today on CBS in 1959. 1977, Super Bowl 11.
Big fella finally got his.
Yes, he did. 32-14 as the Raiders beat the Vikings. 79, Bobby Orr's number 4 is retired. 1984, Van Halen releases their album, 1984. It was today in 91 that baseball officially bans rose from being elected to the Hall of Fame for betting on baseball.
Ridiculous.
Also today in 91, Dean Smith becomes the 6th to win 700 in college.
You know, Leonard Hamilton got 600 over the weekend.
Today in 2000, Dan Marino wins his last career NFL game. In 2007, Steve Jobs announced the iPhone. Wonder how that would do. And in 2017, Clemson would beat Alabama 35-31 for the Natty. Wasn't a very good game or anything. Those born today that are no longer with us, Richard Nixon, Bob Denver, that's Gilligan for those of you that don't know, and Dick Enberg. Those celebrating birthdays, Joan Baez is 82. Jimmy Page is 79. Go listen to Led Zeppelin 3 today, just for him. Crystal Gale is 72. NASCAR driver Mark Martin is 64. Otis Nixon is 64. Dave Matthews is 56. Sergio is 43. And your girl Kate's 41, David.
I mean, don't get me wrong. She could use a carb. Okay. You know, I hope she lets loose today. A carb, some cake. Be good.
She's not her sister.
Well, although I have to admit, she married better, but
definitely married up better.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Right. I mean, he may not be king of the household, but he may be king of the kingdom.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to Luck, Wisconsin. Because someone bought a $15 million lottery ticket in Luck, Wisconsin.
Wow.
Right. $15.1 million Megabucks winning ticket at Wayne's Food Plus in Luck, Wisconsin, located in northwestern Wisconsin.
What do you think the plus is? I mean, really? I mean, Wayne, you're really like, you know, selling a lot here. Like, you know, how much plus are you really bringing to the table?
It's a dadgum good point, David. For the bad, we go to Mount Holly, New Jersey, where Katie McClure is going to spend a little time behind bars. You may remember this story. It's almost a bit of a follow-up. This actually may have been a good way back when. You see, McClure and her then boyfriend came up with a Good Samaritan story saying that homeless veteran had given his last $20 to her when she ran out of gas, and they put together a GoFundMe, and they raised $400,000 for homeless veteran Johnny Bobbitt. The problem was they spent all the money on the two of them. He got 5 years. She's getting 3. For the ugly, we go to Fort Myers, where a woman met Britton Bashensky on a social media site. They talked for a couple of days. They went on a date. They went back to his house. They had some consensual activity.
Okay.
Then she went to sit down in the other room. He came out and wanted to show her his watch collection.
Watch collection?
Watch collection. She apparently pulled out her phone to use as a flashlight to see the watches because it was dark. And he lost his mind, saying, "Don't take pictures of my blank." Then he came back out with a gun and said, if you're going to take pictures of something, take it of this.
Wow, dude.
She freaked out, left the house, called 911, and he got arrested.
Let me guess, the watches were stolen.
No, he pulled a gun on a woman.
Well, I was just thinking, why is he freaking out about taking pictures of the watch unless they're hot? Nut.
That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, January the 9th, 2023.
Man. I have to admit, if I was her, I'd be concerned the minute after, spending some quality time together. And the first thing you want to do is show me your watches? Really? How about some Doritos? Want to turn the TV on? No?
That's what she was doing, too. You know what? It's so funny. She went to the couch, had some leftovers, and was watching TV.
Right.
Might have been a keeper.
He comes out and is like, hey, you want to see my watches? No. Watches? What do you need more than one for? Certainly.
There are people that collect watches.
No, I understand. My brother-in-law is big into watches. I look at them all the time and I go, how many you wear at a time?
You are a special breed, David.
Wow.
How many?
Mark,
how many do you wear at a time?
Mark, I just don't think we should pretend. Okay, that's all. I mean, I only got one shot at this game called life. I just don't want to fake it. I don't have it in me. I really don't. Probably should. I probably would have achieved a lot more in life. I just don't have it in me. You know that.
No, I know.
And listen, you didn't have it in you till your 40s either. You're much better now. You are. I'm not really. No. I fail that test every year. You started passing it. I'm proud of you. I am. I'm jealous. You're a better person
Just
than
give
I am.
medication, David. After all, come on.
You just keep it all on the inside. That's all. And then I'm proud of you. I am. I'm not being sarcastic or anything. I wish I had it in me. It would have served me a lot better. A lot better.
Well, everybody deserves to fake it once in a while.
Well, I mean, that's just in relationships. But hello. So more surprised if TCU beats Georgia or what the Lions did last night?
What the Lions did last night.
That's unbelievable. They were only a 4.5-point dog. TCU's 12.5.
I understand. It's a lifetime of bias against a team that would lose when they would go there. I mean,
that's true. That's true. Here's my thing, and I'm serious about this. Does anybody beat Georgia running the ball? When's the last team to beat Georgia running the football? I'll sit and wait for your answer. Because I don't know if it's happened since Kirby Smart's been the head coach. I'm being serious. When Florida beat him in the Florida-Georgia game in 2020, Trask throwing the wheel route, Kyle Pitts when he was on the field, he threw for over 400 yards. How did Georgia lose to Alabama last year? All right. First-round quarterback, first and third-round wide receivers. Threw it all over the lot, beat him in the SEC title game. How did Ohio State nearly beat him? That's my thing, okay, that I think TCU's most effective way offensively tonight is going to be Duggan running the ball, and I just don't know if you can run your way to a win against Georgia.
But it will be Duggan running the ball. I don't think it'll be the running back. I mean, it will be out of the pass. It will be out of scrambling. It will be out of necessity. It will be out of maybe fooling Georgia a little bit.
They do have a first-round wide receiver, though. I mean, I'm just saying their wide receiver is better than Georgia's best corner. I'll say that. And that might be enough, Mark. That might be enough.
They'll need their other receivers to step up as well, though.
Well, they're deep at receiver and they're deep at running back. So, their top running back's going to try to go, but they're not expecting much. Here's my thing. TCU defensively. I mean, with everything that Michigan did wrong and screwed up, they still scored 45. I mean, don't you think Georgia's going to get theirs?
Yes. But I don't think Georgia will be. I think a lot what Chris Landry said is true. I think Georgia's going to try to play this game where they're going to get in the 30s.
Oh, I think Georgia's planning on 38 minimum. I really do. I'm just trying to see, TCU was able to get to 51 against Michigan. They also got 2 pick sixes. And I would like to think Georgia will defend TCU a little better than Michigan did. So if you think that TCU scored 37 straight up on Michigan, I'd like to think Georgia can hold them to about 28.
I guess at the end of the day, I don't think Georgia's great.
And they're not. Last year's team was better.
And we keep trying to take Georgia like they're Alabama from a couple of years ago, or like they're because it's a back-to-back thing, and we have this impression that it's the same team coming back. It's not.
No. It's funny, though. They're better offensively, but they're not nearly as good defensively. Like, I think when Georgia wins tonight, they're going to win it because Stetson and company are going to score 40 plus. 41-24, by the way. It's my pick.
36-24.
So I'm Georgia covering and just ever so slightly over. Mark's TCU covering and just so slightly under.
By the way, if I were to bet this, I'd wait because I think it's going to jump up to 13.5 by kick.
You think a late rush on Georgia?
I do.
Sharks come in.
Miller and Moulton, enjoy the Natty. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts.